Toll free in Dade and Broward.
Or pound 560 on your cell phone.
The opinions of Neil, his guests and callers do not necessarily represent those of the Beasley Broadcast Group, its staff, advertisers, or agencies. Now, here's Neil Rogers on 560 QAM.
Esa la chingada manera de George Bush. What that man be doing to you?
I don't know.
Woman, he be no good. Or he go back to jail. Now, who be that other smooth man who take your money?
I don't know.
Well, let me tell you something, girl. You could have given that money to me. I do not bathe, and I am out of incense. If you were not so stupid, I would dance around chicken bones and conjure up the spirit of Estero.
Girl, you be so fine.
Help me experience the benefit of your credit card reading and help subsidize the ever-growing telemarketing industry that caters to the uninformed Negro. For only $6.99 a second, I will tell you what you want to hear and less than you already know. Call now. To get fleeced, go to the payphone at your local check cashing store and dial 1-800.
Okay, 10:01 at 560 WQM. As we're trying to sort through all of this crap, I think this whole election business boils down to one very important point, and that is old Jews and old Spartans don't know how to vote. Can we debate that?
No.
No. There's no debating it. They are debating right now the Palm Beach County Canvassing Board. The right-wingers are trying to get Carol Roberts to get knocked off the canvassing board, which there are three of them. She, of course, being a Democrat, and she's kind of adamant and militant, and now they're accusing her of twisting this and hanging that and getting the Chad pregnant and doing all sorts of other things. Yeah, she got it pregnant.
In the state and the nation.
Yeah. So that's going on. We got so much legal crap going on now, I can't keep track of it. We got that bitch Catherine Harris has gone to the Florida Supreme Court and put out this 12-page document in which, among other things, she wants to consolidate all these cases, have the Supreme Court deal with it, and also have the Supreme Court direct Palm Beach County and everybody else don't count any more votes till 2 o'clock. Of course, Palm Beach County ain't counting any more votes right now anyway, because while they're doing the thing with Carol Roberts and trying to get her knocked off of the canvassing board, they're also in court. This is the best part of the deal. They're in court asking the judge whether they can count, let me make sure I got this right, dimpled ballots and pregnant chads. Have you got that?
How's that hand job coming along, John?
Exactly. Dimpled ballots and pregnant chads. And, of course, if you know anybody named Chad who's pregnant, let's face it, there ought to be an investigation. I mean, this is just, what it boils down to is that America doesn't know how to hold an election. I know that's embarrassing, and they have, the different networks during the 80 million hours they have to fill, they have had pieces on about, well, you know, the antiquated voting machines and that they don't even make anymore, and these paper ballots and all of this stuff. You know, California, they showed the touch screen, works like a charm. They count all those millions of votes in no time at all, don't seem to have any big problem. We have the technology, we just don't have the will to use it. Because, let's face it, when the fix is in, and Dade County counts 3 precincts last night, they find 6 more Gore votes, and they said, nah, it's going to all balance out anyway. We don't want to waste the time. We're not going to recount. Broward, in the meantime, doesn't know whether Schmidt will get off the pot. Well, they will, they won't, they might, they don't, etc.
It was always unanimous. And for Mr. Carroll to say that it was counted as a Gore vote.
Oh, yeah, this is, everything now is in court. Everybody and their brother. Everybody in Palm Beach County is in court. People who haven't been born yet, people who died 20 years ago in Palm Beach, they're all in court. We asked yesterday, how interested are you now in the outcome of this election? Still very interested. We got 943 votes. Still very interested, 401, 42.5%. Sick of it. Get it over with already, which I voted on that. 318, 33 and about a third. Getting less interested by the day, 224, 23.5%. Now, I do understand, you know, the idea is to get it right. There's no question about that. But this bitch, Catherine Harris, coming up with this 2 o'clock deadline for the counties to send her a letter of explanation, 2 o'clock today. Just arbitrarily, she comes up with this time. You have till 2 o'clock tomorrow, send me a letter and explain, and then she'll decide whether it's valid or not. Well, of course she's going to say no, and then they're going to have to take her to court. Now, so they want Carol Roberts to recuse herself, but in the meantime, how about Catherine Harris, the Secretary of Bush? Yeah, that's what she is. She's the goddamn Secretary of frickin' Bush, that bitch. This is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with so much hanky-panky, like I told you days ago, that it could go on forever, and they're still never going to know. You'll never really know who won. And the best part in New Mexico is that even though Gore's ahead by 300 and some votes now, I'm sure they'll find some more Bush votes. They're probably punching them right now as we speak. If it comes to a dead-even tie, and they're dealing with such a small number of votes there anyway, because they had a big snowstorm and not that many people, I think about 500,000 people voted, maybe less than that. But at any rate, if it comes to a dead-even tie, law in New Mexico provides for a coin flip or a card game or maybe a duel. I'm not really sure which one they're going to pick. In fact, George Bush said, can I play Raymond Burr in that duel? Something like that. Oh, God, this is just a mess. Also, I was listening to Boog. I was in the car going to the store last night listening to Boogster talking about the Panthers. And lo and behold, here's Michael Mayo's commentary, which is really lukewarm as usual. The columnists in this town, almost never do they really say anything. They kind of like beat around the bush. But for Michael Mayo, it's, I guess, going out on a limb. Panthers a pity, but injury alibi can only go so far. But anyway, Boogster was saying that the Murrays are very lucky that we have the election thing going on because Neil Rogers would really be ripping them an ass and going, you know something? I love Boog. He's a great guy, and we like him a lot better since he lost all that weight. Don't we like him better? Yeah. I don't know why that is. You know how some people would say, I used to like you better when you were fat. I mean, that's got to be the dumbest thing I ever heard. And it's really just as dumb to say we like him better now that he lost all the weight. But he's more human now.
He'll live longer now.
He'll live longer.
He's easier to look at.
He's healthier. He used to be a mess. But anyway, he's a great guy, and I like him a lot. But, Berg, I hate to break the news to you. I wouldn't be carrying on and going crazy because I did that once before and sacrificed the whole audience. See, the business that we're in, it's called survival. I'm not just talking about one of those CBS TV shows. This is real survival. And in order to do it, you have to talk about things that people care about. Does anybody care about the Panthers in this town?
No.
About hockey?
No.
So while Terry Murray should have been fired a long time ago, and probably his brother with him as a package deal, I'm not going to sit here and waste a lot of time with it, so I'll forget about it. You can only make the injuries an excuse so long. And there they have a lot of big injuries, but the fact is that Whitney and Sillinger are the only really meaningful, very significant injuries at the moment. And the youngsters in the organization that we're always hearing about, in this organization they always stink. And they always wind up going back down to the minors. Sooner or later, I mean, every organization comes up with some real kids who can fill the breach and maybe help you win one game anyway. I'm not going to get into it, because like I said, nobody cares about it. So don't get me sidetracked on that, because I'm not going to do it. And if they get fired, they get fired. And if not, they don't. And they're still going to keep losing one way or the other because they have no talent. They're thin in the talent line. They're desperately thin. It's the whole organization from the bottom up. Smells. Kind of like this organization. Can you smell it? Oh, God. But thanks for the bonus check. See, that was a real good scam, you know? That was a great scam. You must admit that. I was here like the very beginning of the summer book and then the last few days, and I still got the bonus. How's it going, George? Well, George is getting his bonus someday. Now, you finally did get the one from the previous book?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Finally.
So now we got another one to work on. This is always, the audience loves this. Did George get that bonus? Yeah, well, which one are you talking about? What year are you talking about?
I'm glad they love it.
Yeah, you love it.
Yeah, I like waiting for my money.
Yeah, you like waiting.
I think I'd rather have it right now.
And, of course, they're not afraid of you because you're still just a peon. And they saw that September trend. They said, that must be because Neil came back. Oh, that was the death knell. We're out of business. Anybody out there listening, you think?
No.
No, we don't care. We just keep taking the money. Anyway, it's 8 minutes after 10 at 560 WQM. I think Carol Roberts ought to get up and beat this guy up, this son of a bitch. Come on, Carol, let him have it, honey. Stick it to him. Come on, say something, Judge. Hey, Judge. He just held up one finger.
No portion of this program may be reproduced without the express permission of WQAM BC Broadcast Group Incorporated.
10:13 at 560 QM. Here's a great fax. Washington, D.C. Following an emergency meeting Wednesday morning, Congress unanimously voted to excise Florida from the United States of America. The move was a reaction to the confusion and irregularities in the state's voting numbers that have totally disrupted the 2000 presidential election. This is the last straw, said Utah Senator Orrin Snatch. First Elian Gonzalez, now this. Several congressmen told reporters the decision has been a long time in coming. We're all pretty much sick of Florida, said Representative Barney Frank. They've been a constant embarrassment for too long now. Added Frank, they had Dan Marino for a while, but what have they done lately? Oh, that's right, screw up our entire democracy, I forgot. In a speech on the Senate floor, Massachusetts Senator Ted Kennedy commented that the loss of Florida's sizable elderly population will free up billions of dollars in Social Security funds. These are valuable funds which can now be redirected toward national defense. We can finally rebuild our demoralized, weakened military, said the senator to roaring applause. As a result of the Florida screw-up, the House and Senate decreed a new election will take place in early December. This time, ballots in each state will be tabulated by robots. It is clear that our human vote-counting system is too inherently flawed, said Speaker of the House Denny Hastert. The presence of these new superior robot tabulators will ensure 100% accuracy. Remember, said Hastert, every vote counts, especially if it's counted by robots. Dynamiting will begin along the Florida border next Wednesday, after which the state will be completely geographically separated from the United States. After that, they're on their own, said Hastert. I hope they sink. All right. Here's something considerably less humorous and very depressing. They're still Hockenachonic in Palm Beach, Bob.
And it was a 2-1 vote, I think.
Yeah, they're still and they're not counting anything. They're doing nothing. Anyway, we talked the other day about the disappearing ballots of Duval County. 22,000 plus were tossed out up there, and the Republicans were saying, well, you see, it's just like Palm Beach, all of these counties. The only problem being that when you looked into it, let's see, nearly 12,000 of them out of the 22,000 came from just 4 of the city's 14 districts, predominantly African-American areas. And like I said before, Schwarzers and old Jews can't vote, but you get into a thing here about the ballot. I have no idea why 22,000 people could not follow directions, said Mike Hightower, chairman of Bush's Northeast Florida campaign. Duval County's ballot this year consisted of 10 presidential candidates plus a space for one write-in spread over 2 pages, which may have led voters to punch a hole on the first page, turn the page, and then vote for another presidential candidate. Not the butterfly ballot where they were facing each other, but here's the first page with, say, like 5 presidential names, and then you turn to the next page, and here's 5 more. So the less astute, the people whose middle name is Dumbo, Rufus, those people turned the page and they voted again. Why is it, see, every county in this state, I know this comes difficult to believe, every county sets its own standards, has a different ballot. You see the ones in Volusia County? Those paper ballots where they X marks the spot, and then they got the ones with the magic marker that you fill in the hole. It's impossible. The state can't do anything right. And the notion that there are some of you out there who believe that we're really going to will someday know the accurate result of this election, you're dreaming. You must be doing acid. You're out of your mind. Thousands and thousands and thousands of votes tossed out over here and thousands more over there. And then we have assholes saying, of course, depending on which side they're on, they're saying, well, that's just the way it goes. That it happens in every election. Well, if it happens in every election, then everybody's vote is supposed to count. How come we don't change the way we vote? Sounds basic to me. Don't sound, yeah. I make all the sense in the world to me, like I always told you. I make all the sense in the world. This is not the way to run a frickin' railroad. God, does this piss me off. 10 presidential candidates, space for a write-in, 2 different pages. Not even opposite each other, where it would be obvious that it was all in the same race if you had any IQ at all, but you turn one page, and then you get to the second page, and here's another bunch of names. And let's face it, we got to say there's no requirement that you be smart to vote. I know there are a lot of assholes out there, a lot of these arrogant bush lickers. Oh, well, how can anybody be that stupid if you don't know how to vote? Well, the fact is that you don't have to be intelligent to vote. Even dumb people. I mean, look in the mirror. You Bush people, you voted for him. I mean, even dumb people are allowed to vote in this country. Old people, frail people, goofy people. Everybody's supposed to have one vote. So the idea being it should be laid out there as simple as like if you were doing it for a child. The lowest common denominator. That never overestimate the intelligence of the American electorate. And here we got all these counties that you almost get the feeling that they went out of their way to make it as difficult as they could. Intentional confusion. But this Catherine Harris, this bitch, this Bush, the Secretary of Bush, that's really what it comes back to. Because 2 o'clock this afternoon, she's just liable to say, well, you know what, Palm Beach, to you, okay? And then they're going to have to go to court and say, back to you, honey. And it's going to go back and forth and on and on. And then, of course, they're counting the Bush people on the absentee overseas ballots. Well, guess what? Now they're saying, well, you know what, it may not be so good after all. Because, first of all, a lot of the military ballots are from enlisted men. Okay? Schwarzers, a lot of them, dark. Are they going to be voting for Bush?
No.
No. And a lot of those other ones are coming from Israel, those Jews. Are they going to be voting for Bush?
No.
No. So the fact that they're automatically assuming, as part of the process of assuming their way into the White House, assuming that they can carry those, the remainder of those overseas ballots, maybe not so. And then what? Then what's he going to say? And then what are the Gore people going to say? Oh, we're ahead now. Okay, let's stop counting. They all look bad. There is nobody in this process that comes out looking good. They all look like crap because we don't know how to do an election. The good news is citrus trees get another reprieve. Yeah. The state decided late yesterday not to resume cutting diseased citrus trees, opting to wait for a Broward judge to rule on the lawsuit. We got more goddamn lawsuits going on now. State Agriculture Commissioner Bob Crawford, that asshole, felt it would be too much to continue now and decided to continue his moratorium on cutting the trees until after the judge made his decision Friday morning. That's Circuit Judge J. Leonard Fleet, who's expected to rule on the lawsuit brought by county municipalities challenging the state's 1,900-foot rule, which allowed trees to be cut down if they were within a radius of 1,900 feet from a diseased tree. So we got at least until Friday, got a little bit of a breather there. And I have a feeling, based on that judge's comments, he may just say to the state, a lot of that going on. They're still battling in Palm Beach.
To keep the people in place until you receive some...
Can you imagine how many votes they could have counted already? And, of course, in Volusia County, Gore picked up 98 votes up there. In Volusia County. So you can imagine if it would be Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. See, and, of course, then if it was Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach and picked up, like, say, 2,000 votes, for example, they would have to recount the whole state by hand. That would be the only rational way to do this. Even though the Bush people have adamantly been opposed to a hand recounting, and they're in court right now today challenging the federal judge's ruling yesterday. But all of a sudden, I think they might have a change of heart and say, you know what, that's a pretty good idea. Let's recount the whole state by hand. Let's do a hand job. So that's where we lie. We don't know a goddamn thing more now. In fact, if anything, it's 50 times more confusing than it was yesterday. I thought the ruling that we had come down was confusing enough. Telling Catherine Harris that, she can do this and she can do that, but don't do it arbitrarily. I mean, is there any other way she's going to do anything besides arbitrarily?
No.
Of course not. She's the Secretary of Bush. Okay, let's see what these people think. Here's Lakeland. Hello.
Yeah, hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
In Polk County, the extra 100 that was just counted for fun, nobody asked them, that's
right.
Part of the 300 margin now, right?
Right.
So really it should be, because nobody even requested that, it should be a 200-vote margin.
Yeah, see, I don't understand how you can do that. How does a county just arbitrarily decide? Well, I guess they can do that because these other counties have voted, but nobody requested that they do it. They just said, well, let's go ahead and do it. Maybe we'll find some more Bush votes, and they did.
Well, I think actually that would be, here we go again, I think that would be illegal because no one made a request. I don't think you can just say, hey, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
But if Broward, Palm Beach, and Dade were recounted, I think your margin would be more in the neighborhood of 7,000 to 10,000 extra votes for Gore.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but wouldn't they, in all fairness, have to then go and recount the whole state?
Well, that was the deal that the Gore people were trying to cut. They said, look, let's just hand count the whole state. It may take 10 days, but no, we can't do that. But the other thing is, with the lawsuit, with the judge's ruling, he said very clearly, believe it or not, he said hand counting, hand jobbing is allowed, and then after the hand counts have been made, you may use your discretion, not prior. So she's created her own ruling. The woman with the fake eyelashes?
Yeah.
So that, in a way, it's too bad Palm Beach County even sent their count up at all. They should have just said, no, we're going to do it.
Well, they had to do that because their ass would have really been on the fire if they would have disqualified all the... If they would have done that, it was possible that she could say, okay, we're just not accepting her. You missed the deadline, and everybody in Palm Beach is disenfranchised.
Yeah, but you know that, in fact, she could... That's right, that's what she would have done, but in reality, that would have caused the whole situation to change. Now that everybody's having to pay the piper to her. If they just said, no, we'll do this our way, and then we'll send it in when it's ready, I think that would have required everyone to recount.
Well, they're too busy trying to find out about those pregnant Chads and Dimples right now.
She's one hell of a woman.
Okay. Good luck to us, sir.
Yes, sir.
Officials approve hand count in the Bloom-Shaw race, in Dade County, that is. They're doing a hand job in Dade. Because Shaw allegedly won by fewer than 600 votes, and initially they said, no, forget it, Elaine, you lost. And now they said, well, guess what? We're going to have a recount in the congressional race, District 22. Miami-Dade officials agreed unanimously yesterday to recount 6 precincts, likely starting this morning. Broward and Palm Beach have denied her request for a hand job, so again, is still up in the air. Now, I was reading Robert Steinbach this morning, which goes to show you how confused I am, and he does make an excellent point, which I was unaware of, to get you even more furious. We have mentioned, from time to time, the fact that Connie Mack won back in 1988 in the Senate race in Florida, even though originally they had projected that Buddy McKay won it. Well, come to find out, Mack won by 33,612 votes out of more than 4 million cast, but supporters of his opponent, Democrat Buddy McKay, howled that some 170,000 voters mysteriously failed to make a choice for Senate even though they voted for president on the same ballot. The suspected culprit, ballot-design. And here we go again. To save space on a crowded ballot, a number of large counties placed the Senate candidates' names at the bottom of the same page as the presidential candidates rather than on a separate page. Critics argued that this induced some voters to inadvertently overlook the Senate contest. It might have cost McKay the contest because the drop-off was concentrated in heavily Democratic counties. In Dade, 19% of the voters skipped the Senate race. In Palm Beach, 22%. In Broward, 12%. In Hillsborough, 24%. So sorry, buddy, you got screwed. Oh, I got to be honest with you. If you choose between that fascist Connie Mack and that Yahoo Buddy McKay, it's not too good. And speaking of not too good, guess who's third in line now after the president and vice president? Guess who's next in line to take over as president? Let me give you a clue. He's 97 years old.
Claude Pepper.
Yeah, Claude Pepper. Close. Claude Pepper's dead, and so is this guy, but nobody told him yet. South Carolina.
Orrin Hatch.
South Carolina?
Oh, sorry.
Orrin Hatch is from Utah, mister. He's a moron.
Oh, that's right. I'm thinking of the other one.
South Carolina. Dixiecrat.
Not Jesse.
Dixiecrat turned Republican. South Carolina.
I give up.
Strom. Oh, look. How many clues did he need?
Sorry.
See, George knows a lot about ancient history. He knows nothing about what's going on today.
That's not in South Carolina.
You better get with it, mister. They're going to come up across the border there and give you, 4 up there in North Carolina, all you goddamn Cubans and Jews. So cut the crap. Yeah, he's third in line. Doesn't that make you feel a lot better?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. He's only 97. He's only 50 yards to the right of Attila the Hun. He's just waiting. He's just rubbing his hand. Well, he's rubbing something together. Been doing that for years. Nothing's happening, though. 26 after 10 at 560 WQ.
Packwood can't keep his packer in his pants.
And now the newly elected Florida election supervisor, Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I am the call, and I know the call. That is the nomination for the efficiency for the election process. Why, it's easy as 1, 2, 3. That's how our love and me tabulated can be. Discarding ballots makes it easy. Like making Alabama from old lady. First you count the holes that never were punched. A double punch is disqualified. Take the fingers on your hand and count them. Just like me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. I only have 4. Oops. Sorry. Time for recount. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't to count.
It's 10:31 at 560 WQAM. Here's our poll question today. If Al Gore loses the election, the main reason will be, give you 4 choices. Choosing Joe Lieberman as his running mate, election fraud, a weak campaign, or mediocre performance in the debates. Those are your 4 choices. If Al Gore loses this election, we're not talking about Florida, but the presidential election overall, the main reason will be choosing Joe Lieberman as his running mate, election fraud, a weak campaign, or mediocre performance in the debates. So there we are. Here's some interesting stuff for those who think that this was a fairly handled campaign in the state of Florida. Thousands of irregularities in over half a dozen categories already have been reported. Ballots ran out in certain precincts, according to the L.A. Times. Isn't that interesting? The L.A. Times has to report on what's going on down here. Also, the L.A. Times reports that carpools, this is in Florida, carpools of African-American voters were stopped by police. In some cases, officers demanded to see a taxi license. Remember we had a call on that? Remember that? Yeah, they demanded to see
a taxi license for giving your friends a ride?
Hey, man, don't be messing with the porkers. According to the Associated Press, polls closed with people still in line in Tampa. In Osceola County, ballots didn't line up properly, possibly causing Gore voters to have their ballots cast for Harry Brown. Also, Hispanic voters were required to produce 2 forms of ID when only one is required. Are you following that?
No.
In Osceola County, ballots did not line up properly, possibly causing Gore voters to have their ballots cast for Harry Brown. Also, Hispanic voters were required to produce 2 forms of ID when only 1 is required by law. Dozens and possibly hundreds of voters in Broward County were unable to vote because the supervisor of elections didn't have enough staff to verify changes of address. And we also heard from many of those people. Voters were mistakenly removed from voter rolls because their names were similar to those of ex-convicts. We also heard about that. According to Reuters News Service, many voters received pencils rather than pens when they voted in violation of state law. Remember, we had a call about that. According to the Miami Herald, many Haitian American voters were turned away from precincts where they were voting for the first time. According to Feed magazine, the mayoral candidate whose election in Miami was overturned due to voter fraud, Xavier Suarez, said he was involved in preparing absentee ballots for George W. Bush. And there's a big article in the paper today about that. GOP staff took in hundreds of ballots, mostly in Little Havana, I should point out, and gave a little assistance, and even stamped them and put them in the mail, and God only knows what else they did with them. CBS's Dan Rather reported a possible computer error in Volusia County where James Harris, a Socialist Workers' Party candidate, won 9,888 votes. He won only 583 in the total rest of the state. Many African-American first-time voters who registered at motor vehicles offices or in campus voter registration drives did not appear on the voting rolls, according to a hearing conducted by the NAACP and televised on C-SPAN November 12th, 3 days ago. And it goes on and on. And there are still people out there saying, oh, yeah, we'll get an accurate count. We'll find out who really won. The Gore recount team has a news conference expected shortly, 1 of 8 million. And, of course, Palm Beach is still up in the air. They're still checking on the pregnant chads and the pregnant ballots and the pregnant pauses going on. No counting yet. And the state Supreme Court we're waiting to hear from them on that 12-page document filed by Catherine, the Secretary of Bush, Harris, this morning. Here's a mobile in Sarasota. Hello.
Hello, Neil?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I believe that George Bush is a drunken draft dodger.
Yeah.
And I hope Al Gore gets to be president.
Okay, thanks for your very perspicacious comments, sir. That was very good. Anybody like that?
No.
That was sensational. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Out of town, like in Palm Beach, West Coast, wherever, 877, toll-free, 877-785-6345. Here's a mobile in West Palm. Hello.
Neil, you had me waiting for that guy? That was a waste.
Well, it was quick anyway, quick and painless.
You know what's frustrating, Neil, is that we all know who won the election. Unfortunately, it's going to wind up with Bush. All these votes, these 3,000 votes that these people gave to Buchanan, that Buchanan doesn't even want, admits they were Gore votes.
No, he wants them now. He said he wants them. They're his votes and he wants them. Somebody got to him. He changed his mind.
Obviously, they got to him, just like they got to all these other precincts and hid these votes or refused to allow people to hand count the votes. And it's going to be, it's just a shame. What I'm hoping is that judge that I saw on TV yesterday, it looked like Santa Claus, will give us an early Christmas or Hanukkah present and declare Gore the winner.
What do you mean declare Gore the winner? How can a judge declare Gore the winner?
Well, you know, in mystical terms, or at least allow there to be a recount in Palm Beach County, where obviously the majority of people in Palm Beach County are going to vote for Gore if given a fair opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
It's just frustrating.
Wait a minute. You're not talking about a re-vote in Palm Beach County. Is that what you're talking about?
I'd love to have a re-vote in Palm Beach County. With the ballot that makes sense, that's legal.
Sir, you're knocking the guy that called before you, but your call is even more ludicrous. It's not going to happen. It's ludicrous. There's no way, after all of this that's gone on and after all the publicity and all the hoopla, first of all the Nader people now, at least most of them would come out and vote for Gore, even if you had all the same group of people that came out the first time. You can't do that. You can't keep having re-elections until you get the result that you like. It's just totally out of the question that they're going to re-vote in Palm Beach. I could see the entire state re-voting, which again would be cumbersome and almost impossible. But I could see that happening with some kind of a judge who just got totally fed up, or the state Supreme Court saying, you know what, this whole thing smells to high heaven. We better, if Florida wants to have any respectability, we better re-vote, like on December 1st, or what, pick a date. Well before the December 18th. And then, of course, can you imagine if we re-voted? We could start all this all over again. And have a whole bunch more recounts and more ballots disappearing. Because Florida doesn't know how to do an election. We don't know how to do it. New York State, I'll say it again. How many, like 16, 17, got to be that many million people in New York State. They don't close the polls till 9 p.m., 2 hours after Florida, or right after most of Florida. And yet every vote in New York State was counted. No debate, no arguments. Everything gone to bed before one vote was counted in Dade County. If there's anybody out there who thinks that this state isn't everything that I've always said that it is, this should finally put you over the edge. This should finally convince you. This is the place, the gang that couldn't shoot straight, the gang that can't get anything right. Oh, yeah, but it said punch to the right of the... Yeah, see, that's even another argument about the illegal ballot, which I hear Alan Dushowitz talking about it, but almost nobody else wants to talk about it because the only remedy would be for Palm Beach staff to vote over again, and we all know that can't happen. It's not going to happen. I said, I still think the best idea, call the whole election off, leave Bubba in there, and we'll talk about it for 4 years and see what would be the proper thing to do.
Do a good one.
In fact, you know who we can elect? If Bubba's going to stay in there, that Monica Moorhead. Yeah, let's send her up there with the Bubba. Yeah, keep him happy anyway. Especially now that Swillery's going off to Albany. She's not going to Albany. She's going to Washington. Or to wherever, where they live?
Chappaquiddick?
Yeah, Chappaquiddick. Yeah, they're living in Chappaquiddick. In fact, Ted Kennedy said he'd drive Hillary home.
Oh, Chippewa.
Yeah, Chappaquiddick.
Uh-huh.
Oh, we're just losing it from all of this. We're losing it.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560 QAM.
1044 560 QAM. Warren Christopher news conference expected 11 o'clock this morning. They're giving him oxygen right now just to make sure he can keep moving his lips. Doesn't it look like he might expire at any given moment, Warren Christopher? Although I'd rather see him speak than that James Baker. Oh boy. Every time I see that man's puss on TV or even think about his name. But anyway, here's a very good fax. Oh, we're adding a fifth choice to our poll, and thanks to the listener who faxed this in, Rick. The other reason that if Al Gore loses, because of Ralph Nader. That'll be choice number 5. And certainly here in Florida, that case can be easily made because if Nader would never been on the ballot in the first place, Gore would have won by, probably, 60, 70,000 votes, and we wouldn't be here right now. Because it would have been hard for the Secretary of Bush to cover up that big of a margin, I guess. Oh, who knows? It may have been a 200,000 vote margin. They may have screwed that up. Here's another really good fact. It says from Mike. Last night, Miami-Dade County Election Board, 3 people voted 2-1 not to do a manual hand count. The fact that 1% of the 6,000 votes they counted increased Gore's count by 6 did not seem important enough for them to do a new count for 650,000 votes. Obviously, there are no statisticians on the board. That would equate to possibly 6,000 votes for Gore. Is this an important news story for the Herald to look into?
No.
Should we know who these 3 people are and the 2 who voted against it?
No.
Does the Herald have an investigative team interested in this story that may cost Gore the presidency?
No.
They're too busy rewriting the same tired news as everybody else. Right on, Mike. Then here's a fact about the GOP absentee ballots. Many absentee requests had errors and had to be corrected by election officials. This is a criminal matter. It's not a civil matter. We're asking the state attorney in the various counties to look into this. One of the Democratic attorneys. It's a felony. They just can't turn these over to anybody. In Seminole County, election supervisor Sandra Gore, the Republican, said she wouldn't do anything. She allowed a Republican Party staff member to sift through the absentee requests and add the numbers by hand, saving the absentee requests from oblivion. Are you listening to that? In Seminole County, this is where Bush picked up 99 votes or 98? Election supervisor Sandra Gore, the Republican, said she would allow a Republican Party staff member to sift through the absentee ballot requests and add the numbers by hand, saving the absentee requests from oblivion. Oh, it never stops. We could go on from now until from 10 years from now, and it's never going to win. And guess what? The judge is still sitting there with a sad look on his puss in Palm Beach, but it was like that. About the pregnant chads and the hanging, who's hanging the most and who's hanging out, and hang down your head, Tom Dooley. And all this precious time is going by, and this is just what Catherine, Secretary of Bush, wants, I should point out. Because should they be counting some precincts in Palm Beach and then release partial results, which has happened in the past, and it winds up, oh, guess what, Gore just picked up another 85 votes, and we're only like a tenth of the way through, or 100th of the way, whatever, before 2 o'clock. But now, while all this legal wrangling is going on, and they were talking about the Democrats being the one that wanted to delay, they wanted to delay. They want to keep setting these arbitrary deadlines and keep delaying the obvious, and then saying, oh, guess what? Deadline's gone. Too late. You lose. Because we still got our 300 votes. Of course, we still don't have those absentee ballots. Rumor that I'm starting is they're all coming in from Israel. Here's Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I think we should put it all in charge of Judge Judy.
Yeah, that's what I said yesterday.
Hey, what is that lady's name, the one with the fake eyelashes? What's her name?
The one in Palm Beach?
Yeah, the one...
Carol Roberts.
Carol Roberts. Well, you know what? You ever watch... She makes this little smirk with her lip, and at any minute I think it's going to be like Mission Impossible, and it's going to be like she's going to rip off a mask. It's going to be George Bush underneath. Now, the other thing on your poll about about the debate, they should have both got toasted. Bush and Gore should have been staggering drunk and did a debate. That would have been good. People would have stayed up to watch that.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for your perspicacious comment again. Wow. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Okay, we got all. Do we have our thing? Oh, yeah, Nader. Nader already is in second place right beyond election fraud. I voted for choosing Drew Lieberman as his running mate, because I think that if he would have had a more reasonable vice presidential candidate, he would have won a lot of those states that Clinton won in '96. Arkansas, Tennessee, his home state, Louisiana. A lot of those redneck Yahoo Deep South states that, of course, don't want no Jew boy there on the ticket. Here's Hollywood. Hello.
Yeah, a couple of things. First of all, your poll question, there should be number 6, all the above.
Yeah, well, I don't want to make it that easy.
Okay. The other thing
I want to put their feet to the fire, make them think a little bit.
Right. The other thing is, I agree 150% with you about the stalling tactic of these scumbag Republicans. You're right on it. And I don't know if you've read Maureen Dowd's column today in the New York Times. Briefly, it says, W campaigned on the issue of restoring trust, but it turns out he meant restoring the Bush family trust. In other words, you can have all the choices you want as long as you choose us. And then she says in brief, W keeps acting as though he needs to get busy with the transition, even though all he's doing is giving jobs to all the old Bush family retainers and,
That's
hire some former Bush White House officials who are already sitting around the ranch with him. How much time and imagination does that take? And then closing, she says, well, at least there's this to be grateful for. Nobody has spotted Johnny Cochran in Florida yet. If the Chads don't fit, you must have quit.
Yeah, that's Maureen Dowd. Yeah, I've got that here.
All right, and have a great day.
And you too.
Okay.
Great as usual. Nice going, Maureen. Oh, the faxes here just keep pouring in and pouring in and pouring in. 3%, about 3% of Florida's 6.1 million voters in last week's election did not register a choice for president, up from just over 2% in 1992, according to the Sun Sentinel survey. The numbers include certified data from 64 counties and the latest tallies from 3 counties still in dispute. This is a tremendous amount of ballots, said Pamela Swafford, the Deputy Director of Elections of Hamilton County. To me, that seems like an awful lot, is what she said. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line.
They're electing my Judaism officer.
They're going on and on and on in Palm Beach. Here's Weston. Hello.
I think it's required by any Republicans that speak to the media that they utilize the phrase, Democrats want to count and recount until they get the decision that they were waiting for.
Right.
Every one of them has stated almost verbatim, almost exactly the same phraseology, which is the Democrats just are looking for a way to count and
until they get a number they like.
Until they get a solution they're looking for, get a number they like, or getting the results they want. And which leads me to believe that this is, believe this or not, okay, I have a keen grasp of the obvious. I think there's something more being orchestrated here than meets the eye. So I just wanted to keep that eye. And with all this going on, I've got to say I'm getting exhausted, and right now, my chads are hanging.
Okay.
See ya.
Okay, don't let them drop off, baby. You're in big trouble. In Broward County, 2.5% of the county's 588,007 total votes did not count toward the presidential race. A total of 7,925 didn't count. Those are way too high, said Ken Brace, president of Election Data Services Incorporated, the leading compiler of nationwide detailed voting data. Brace said poor ballot design was probably responsible for the multiple votes. So we had 7,925 overs and 6,700 unders, about over 13,000 votes in Broward that didn't count. poor ballot design. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Neil, this is first-time caller and long-time listener, and I love your program.
Of course.
I would like to call to tell you that if Mr. Gore loses, it's probably because of election fraud, because I never really thought that something like that could happen in the United States, though. And
I guess you never lived in Chicago, huh? Or Miami.
Yes, sir. And I would like to know. I would like to tell you also that people who voted for Mr. Bush will be very disappointed. There are lots of skeletons in these closets that remain to come out, sir, and they will be very, very disappointed.
Well, you know something, in that case, I mean, if we can survive, since we're going to have nothing but gridlock anyway, whichever one gets in for the next 4 years, maybe it'll be like Turnaround. You know, they had their fun with Penis Gate for like a year and a half. Maybe now we can have Abortion Gate, or Drunken Gate, or all the other gates.
Yes. Thank you for taking my call, Mr.
And
Neil.
thank you for making your call. Have a great life. Okay. Good luck to you. Oh, who says that? Good luck to you? Don't mention his name, because then he'll show up. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon Wireless line. Warren Christopher, they're pumping some oxygen into him to try to get that blood flowing again. He's supposed to be speaking at 11 o'clock this morning. Any word could be the last. Poor old Warren. Can just barely get the words out. Here's a mobile in Boca. Hello.
Oh, Neil?
Yes, sir.
Oh, nice to talk to you. What I don't understand, Neil, and all this thing is, why is the recount an option? I mean, if you add up a column of figures...
Because it's Florida law.
Yeah, but if you add up a column of figures and you get one answer, you're asked to add it again and you get a different answer, aren't you then obliged to make sure you get the right answer?
Well, yeah, I mean, they keep saying, the excuse that they keep giving is, well, that the machine error rate is acceptable. Well, of course, it's not acceptable, especially in an election this important, to say that 2 to 5% error rate in machine counting is acceptable. That's what they did. They recounted. They had a machine recount. The Republicans keep saying, well, they voted and then they had a recount. Yeah, the recount was the machine recount, not a hand recount.
And that has a margin of error.
The machine. Let me say it again. Machine recount 2 to 5%.
Yeah, and that's not acceptable.
Of course it's not. Of course not. Not when the margin of victory is like 0.05% or whatever it is.
I mean, if you go to buy a car, and the guy says, well, you're going to pay about $22,000, and you say, well, I'd rather pay $21,000. That's an acceptable margin of error. And he says, no, we're going to make it $23,000 instead. That's an acceptable margin of error. That's not acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Not in a presidential election. We got to get the right answer. If Bush wins, fine. If Gore wins, I voted for Gore, by the way.
Right.
But if Bush wins, I just want to know that whoever wins has got the right number. And if it means a hand recount for 10 days, let's recount.
I think they're just wasting a lot of time. I think that both parties, if they had any class at all, would just say, okay, well, listen, let's just recount the whole state by hand, and that's the fairest way to do it. And but of course, the Republicans, whoever has the lead at the given moment is going to say, okay, game over. And that's what the Republicans are doing right now, in spite of all their protests. And I have a feeling if it were the other way around, the same thing would be going on. Whoever's got the edge right now is saying, okay, it's time to bring it to a halt, and the law says this and the law says that, as if there's some hurry.
Well, I think your poll the other day, which I didn't get in to vote, was one of the questions was, are you so sick of it you just want it over? Mm-hmm. That's what they're banking on. They're banking on the good old American idea that, I've heard enough.
That's how I feel about it, because you just get you get inundated with all these lawsuits and all this harangue, all the wrangling, and almost none of it really seems dedicated to getting the answer right.
That's true.
First of all, you have an illegal ballot in Palm Beach County. I don't think that's even disputable, and nobody's even talking about that anymore.
No, I know. And I voted in Palm Beach County, and I consider myself fairly intelligent. I signed business contracts that I have to read and everything. Neil, it would have been easy to vote for the wrong punch on that.
And then we find out that in Duval County, where they threw all those votes out, 22,000, that they had 2 different pages with names of presidential candidates.
Yeah, that's right. When I explained to my brother in New Hampshire what the ballot looked like, he said he couldn't believe that that's what we were trying to deal with here.
Well, at least we're consistent down here anyway. Have a great day, pal.
Thank you, Neil.
Yeah, we're not good, but at least we're consistent. Consistently full of crap. 10:56 at 560 WQM, your friendly station. What do we got today? We got Hank is back. Hank will be, was that the right day? Hank will be on from 2 to 6. We got John Wiener and Mark Eisenberg. Wow, Stu Gotts and Mark Eisenberg, 6 to 6:30. Panthers at the Carolina Hurricanes. Pregame at 6:30, game time at 7 o'clock, Eddie K after the Panther game. Panther game, you think they might win it?
No.
Oh.
Sports Radio 560 WQAM Miami, Fort Lauderdale, a Beasley Broadcast Group station, and WQAM.com for the world.
I'm punching the hole for Ali the bin, but I can't help but wondering what's the right hole. And I don't know where to look. Is it left or right, up and down? And did I do it right? I don't know. Don't know what the hell I got. The ballot is allowing the cock to punches will invalidate my vow.
Boy, I'm fixing the polls so my brother will win. Just like the third world country.
All right.
In Mexico.
¿Vamos acá? Al frente, me voy a matar. Entonces.
Seven 702 at 560 WQM. We're waiting for Warren Christopher. He still hasn't got enough oxygen to start speaking yet, but any moment now. Ballot error rates high in some black precincts. Dade County overvoting. As many as 1 in 10 ballots cast in some black precincts in Liberty City and Overtown were voided because voters apparently punched holes for 2 presidential candidates, the same error rate that's ignited controversy and lawsuits in Palm Beach County. County-wide, 2.7 of Dade's ballots were discounted because of so-called overvoting. But in about 24 inner-city neighborhoods, between 8 and 11% of ballots were fouled, a rate so high that some people are calling for an investigation. Typically, election experts attribute overvoting to elderly or inexperienced voters fumbling with the ballots. A rate of up to 3% is considered acceptable. At least 50 Miami-Dade precincts, including Liberty City, Goulds, Overtown, and part of Coconut Grove, I wonder which part that was, had rates of 7% or higher. 100 of the county's 617 precincts had overvote rates of 5% or higher. The data seems to show the higher the elderly vote, the higher the overvote rate. Are you following?
Oi!
The older they are, the less they know how to vote. So Schwarzes, young and old especially, and old Jews. That's where the problem was. Here's a mobile in Hollywood. Hello.
Yes, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I was watching C-SPAN last night. They had a speaker from California and the lady Democrat from Texas. And the one thing that he brought up is that in 1996, when they had the butterfly ballot in West Palm Beach, and everybody says there's nothing they can do, they can't hold a revote, that's not true. It was taken to the Supreme Court in the state of Florida, and the Supreme Court ruled on it that if it is an illegal ballot, they are entitled to a revote. That's why she's pushing for this time and everything else, because she knows it's no matter if she takes it to federal court or whatever, they're going to say you've got a state Supreme Court ruling already on this butterfly ballot, and they're not going to overstep their bounds.
Well, how do you really have an election again in Palm Beach County? I mean, I have no problem with it myself, but how do you do that?
I would, it's not right to sit there and throw their votes out either, because they were double punched because of an illegal ballot.
Yeah.
And the law is the law. I mean, that's what it's eventually going to come down to. And I think, like you said, it should be a statewide recount and then put an end to it.
I think it would be a lot more palatable for everybody involved if we had a statewide hand recount as opposed to just saying to Palm Beach County, okay, now that you all know this and now that we know Nader's not going to get his 5% nationwide, now everybody who voted before go and vote again in Palm Beach. I mean, that would just get people crazy. But
they also had the black caucuses for all a lot of the states. And they're talking about doing an investigation, not just because of the balloting in Florida, but they're talking about civil rights that were violated, as well as constitutional rights that were violated, that they're going to be looking into as far as bringing up charges and stuff. So I don't think this lady is going to be able to do too much because they're already talking about bringing committees up, and I don't think...
You mean the Secretary of Bush?
Yes. I don't think she's wanting them to maybe be put some jail time if she rules too quickly on these votes.
She said she wouldn't mind doing some time as long as Jeb was in the cell with her. Okay, have a great day, sir.
You too.
Thanks for the good news. 567. Now this is Lou in Freeport, the Bahamas says U.S. presidential election. The rest of the world is looking on with amazement and amusement. Anywhere else, the man with the most votes wins. It would appear that the man with less votes wins in the U.S. Oh, that's what Lou said. Well, we got electoral votes, we got popular votes, we got fixed votes, we got absentee votes, we got double punch, we got Chads, we got hanging Chads, we got swinging Chads, we got Chad Stewart and Jeremy Clyde, we got Chad Everett, we got Betsy Everett, and then we got Chris Everett. Here's a lady in Pompano Beach. Hello.
Hello. I can't believe I finally got on because I had been trying to get on CNN for God knows how long. Anyway, prior to even hearing the term butterfly ballot, my son, who votes in West Palm Beach, called me in the early afternoon to say that there was going to be a problem. He says it was impossible. Where the dots were, it was very confusing.
Where the holes were, yeah.
Where the holes were, yes. Well, they were, before they were holes, they were dots. So anyway, he said that people on the outside said, I think I voted for Buchanan, and they were very upset.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly feel that our commission was doing such a good job and working so diligently to have Mr. Baker call them mischievous and shenanigans.
Well, because he doesn't like what they're doing because he knows that if they do the recount there, the man's going to lose.
That's true, but there's no... I tell you, I think I've had it for the past 8 years with the Republican parties. They're really poor sports, have been bashing Clinton from the day he stepped into office. I can remember when Dole was on Meet the Press, he started to talk against our president. There's no respect for the president, and this is before all his personal matters. And this personal matter, I feel for 2.5 years, I've just had it with the Lewinsky matter, and there was absolutely, his personal life should not have been considered. I don't condone him, no way.
Well, I think
but he did not embezzle, he was not a traitor to the country.
That's another reason that Bush better be hoping that Gore wins, because if Bush does get in, he's going to find that payback's going to be really ugly.
I would imagine so.
We've got lots of skeletons rattling around.
Well, I'm glad someone like you, because I'm just tired of every station. I have to stop listening to talk shows, really, because every station, they were bashing Clinton, and I really got very upset. You know, I like to hear two sides, two opinions.
Good luck to us.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, well, see, it's Fat-Ass Limbaugh, and then you got your convicted felons out there. You got Gordon Liddy and Ollie North. And that's basically what talk radio is degenerated into, even though we keep hearing about the liberal media. Who the hell, what liberal person have we got on national radio in this country? Name me one. Oh, that's right, I forgot about Dr. Laura. Oh, sorry, that was just a joke. Not one. This country, the media controlled by a bunch of right-wing fascist lunatics, and Fox, I'd like to know the name of the guy that's on there for like about 8 till 10 or 11 o'clock at night. He was on last night. This is a guy, kind of a pasty-looking guy, about 50-ish. Rabid, a psychotic right-winger that even the Fox people must be embarrassed by, which that's saying a lot. Got all of his facts wrong. Don't ever confuse him with a van. He screams and he yells and he carries on. He doesn't have any idea what he's talking about. He was on there with some historian who was very articulate and very correct last night, and this guy was just foaming at the mouth on your fascist. Don't forget, the F in Fox stands for fascist. And I say FM, which stands for something else. 9 minutes after 11 at 560 WQAM.
George Bush. Obviously, there's a report out tonight that 24 years ago, I was apprehended in Kennebunkport, Maine for DUI. That's an accurate story. I'm proud of that. I oftentimes said that I occasionally drank, and I did on that night. But I made the decision that drinking, I want my girls doing the kinds of things I did, and I told them to drink and drive. Decision I made. I've been very up front with the people saying that I drink now. Yes, I was. I'm going to drink beer, yeah. Any beers? I can't remember how many beers. It was 4 years ago. My father, very happy about it. But, that's the course of action I took. And I'm the first to say that people of America will understand that.
White knuckle drunk. It's 11:14 at 560 WQAM. 5670560. How's that poll coming? 107 votes. If Al Gore loses the presidential election, the main reason will be because of Ralph Nader, 37% plus. Election fraud, 33, a turd, 30.8%. choosing Jew Lieberman as his running mate. 15 people said that, including me. Oh, it's reloading now. 1 second. A weak campaign, 13, and mediocre performance in the debates. You know how many people said that, George?
None.
8%. So there you are. And where the hell is Warren Christopher? Oh, they're still pumping oxygen? They're still trying to get him up out of bed? Here's a lady mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
The name of the gentleman you were referring to is Bill O'Reilly.
Oh, that's the one, that crazy son of a bitch.
Great show. He's a real class act. Listen, as far as all this, it is ridiculous, and I think you would be the first one making tons of jokes at these people holding up the ballots towards the light.
I already have.
As if they're waiting for the light beams to punch a hole through Gore.
Yeah.
I think that, historically, there's been ballots tossed in every election.
Uh-huh.
Where have all these screaming people been when it comes to counting people's votes then?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't happen with Kennedy. Clinton's election, tons of ballots were tossed away, but I guess it wasn't a big deal because Clinton won.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot
listen, I hope you and Bill O'Reilly have a good life together. She's being serious. Great show. He is 400 yards to the right of Attila Von. Even Hitler would be embarrassed by that.
Yeah, but he's a humble man. He doesn't have a... Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. 5670560, pound 560. Yeah, they're waiting for a moonbeam to come through there. Honey, if you want to steal the election, you're going to have to do it by more than 300 votes. I think that's what the essential message is. If you want to steal this election, which almost anybody who would be even honest for a second would tell you that everybody knows Gore won the state of Florida. But if you want to steal it, do it by more than 300 votes. Do a little bit better than that. Maybe like 310. Here's a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Great show, man.
Yeah, Bill O'Reilly.
Just a couple of things I wanted to say to you. For one, I don't want you to head to the airport just yet. Just hang around till we get rid of Jeb Can Caboose.
No.
And another thing, these Republicans, yahoos, why won't they just be Americans first before they be Republicans?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they can't do that. And at the last thing, Neil.
They're into Bush, man. They can't help themselves.
I hear that. The last thing, Neil. You know what song you're going to be hearing in the White House soon?
And what is that, sir?
You know that old Matt Davis song? Why don't we all just get stoned?
Yeah.
That's what G.W. and his Yahoo friends will be playing in the White House.
All right. Okay, when do we start? Okay, good luck to you, sir.
Have a good day, Neil.
Okay, and
keep up the good work.
Good day. Bye-bye. Okay. 5670560. Yeah, that Bill O'Reilly. He's great. It's a great show. He's oh, was that Ava Brown that called?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it sounded like it. Well, speaking of Ava Brown, I get home yesterday. Guess who there was a message from on the phone, George? Cheryl. Our good close personal friend, Cheryl.
Are we going over there soon?
Oh, I asked Greg yesterday. I said, when's the sale going through? But anyway, she said, oh, well, Mike Disney wanted you to call him because Steve Dahl is going to be doing the shows from West Palm, to exploit all of this stuff down here, and wants to have me on there. And here's the number for Mike Disney. Did I call him back?
No.
No. Even assuming that I would be here, which I'm not going to be, but even assuming that. When I go on the air, first of all, Steve Dahl is an asshole. That's number one. And Mike Disney? Oh, don't even get me started with him. Maybe he's still puking in the wastebasket. Yeah. See, I don't have a need. I don't have this compulsive need to be on other shows. I have this show. I mean, this crowd that we got out there, you are... See, I just dumped George. See, you haven't heard yet. We don't do that. We don't play that game. We don't do it. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Okay.
Hey, that Bill O'Reilly fan that called you like 2 calls ago?
That bitch, yeah.
I think she has a program on radio, and that's all she does all day long.
I think she wants to elope with the Secretary of Bush. That's what I think.
Man, what a right-wing propaganda that lady is. Hey, let me give you a quick update on human radio and the whole mess.
Oh, this must be great.
It seems now that this is all a vast Jewish conspiracy headquartered...
Oh, wait a minute. There's a bullet in Broward County to proceed with full manual recount. Oh! Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, there's a strong suspicion that this is all a vast Jewish conspiracy headquartered in Palm Beach County.
Boy!
That's right. It's a Jew thing, right?
That's what they're saying. All right, Neil. Take care.
Okay, and back to you. See, that's the Cubans. That's why George is so anti-Semitic. So we have a full recount ordered to Broward County to proceed with a full manual recount. Then, of course, at 2 o'clock, they'll have sent that letter to the Secretary of Bush, and she'll say, I don't think so. So they're proceeding. And if Palm Beach ever gets their act together, what happened in Palm Beach?
Supreme Court decides this case. So right now, in fact, the people who were supposed to be doing the hand-by-hand recounts are sitting inside, and they're waiting for the Supreme Court to rule. I got news for them. They're going to be waiting for a long time.
All right, and we're going to keep you there, and off to the right-hand side of the screen, the picture just over there. We're also keeping an eye on that live news conference that's expected to get underway with Gore and Christopher.
Okay, they're still, there's a little bit of color came into his face so far. They're trying to get enough color into his puss so they can stand him up straight, prop him up, and get his mouth moving. Poor Warren. He's been dead for 6 years. You got to commend him. He's been doing a pretty good job for a dead man. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. So Broward is going forward. Palm Beach is going to be going forward. They just don't know when and whether it's the pregnant Chads or the hanging Chads or the swinging Chads or the swinging door. So we've got at least those two. And, of course, Dade County, they're like, we don't want to be bothered because we're busy. Here's Delray Beach. Hello.
Hey, Neil. How you doing?
Okay.
I wasn't around when the Kennedys pulled off that coup that they got away with, but I can certainly understand, how they ended up with the fate that they had. I mean, you just can't do this type of thing.
How they ended up with the fate that they had? What does that mean?
Well, what happened to them? I mean,
that had to do with stealing the election, or you think it might have had something to do with Jimmy Hoffa and stuff like that?
Of course it had. Of course
going after all the mobsters, you think that might have had something to do with it?
Absolutely.
You think maybe some of those big Texas oil tycoons?
Oh, absolutely. It was the people that they went after that, that they angered, but the way that they took office, they took power, they stole it, and then they set their own agenda. I'm sure they're...
Well, what do the Kennedys have to do with this? I'm missing something.
Okay, well, let me just take this one step further.
That was 40 years ago.
Everybody that is talking about Jeb Bush not getting reelected, I don't think Jeb Bush will be here to be reelected. He's going to be sitting in some fat position up in D.C., just like Bobby Kennedy was. I mean, it's like they modeled this entire thing after that Kennedy election, and they obviously...
There's no question that they want him to be next in line. Sure, first it's W, and then it's Jeb, and then it's Jebby Jr. If they can, erase that thing about him screwing that broad in the parking lot of that up in Tallahassee.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so obvious.
And then maybe it's George P. if they can get him to stop running around like a maniac in front of his ex-girlfriend's house.
Right.
Calm him down a little bit.
It's just so obvious that they targeted Florida, and as you start to peel back the layers, every time a new player comes into the picture, they've got him set. I mean, Jeb recused himself. I'm sorry.
Recluse, yeah.
And
how can? Let me ask you this. Somebody brought this up last night, and they were even saying, it was Paul Begala, even saying nice things about Jebby, which was shocking, but he gave him high marks for recusing himself because he's obviously got no objectivity. And he says, how come the Secretary of Bush didn't do the same thing since he's a Bush campaign worker? How the hell could she be objective? Which she can't.
Well, the reason Jeb did that so early is because he knew that it would fall to this person, and she was, on the team. It's just, the thing is so transparent to me. And thank God I just heard that news from you that Broward's going to recount.
Yeah.
That's
like I said, let's drag it out for 4 years.
Hang in there, Neil.
Okay. Yeah, that bitch, that Secretary of Bush, who the hell is she kidding? Does anybody believe she's got... She wants to be the ambassador to something. She don't care where, although hopefully, maybe to Monaco, someplace like that, Monte Carlo. Yeah, and maybe George W. can show her where it is on the map after somebody shows him. Oh, that thing about William Hague yesterday, that was just the best. He's here in the country, he'd like to meet with George W., another arch conservative. Oh yeah, that would be great, but who is that? I'd like to know who that is before I meet with him. Oh, okay. Oh, he's from England. Let's show you where that is on the map. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello?
Yeah, hi, Neil. Good
yes,
morning.
Sir.
Listen, I just wanted to say a little comment here to all the people that are listening. I kind of cover all the bases. Number one, I'm a registered Republican who actually voted for Gore. Number two, my brother is gay. Number three, my aunt is gay. She's a dyke. And she doesn't like the fact that Bush is anti-abortion, even though she's never going to have a baby, most likely.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is, how in the hell could Bush be so close in numbers to Gore down here when he is against the gay vote, the black vote, and the women's right vote?
Right.
I mean, just simple numbers couldn't add that up to the point that
must be an awful lot of rednecks and Bible thumpers out there, which I guess there's a little crossover.
Well, you know, my only thing for that is that if people believe that this is not a fix or something going on, then they're stupid enough to still believe that Lee Harvey Oswald killed, you know, Kennedy.
Right.
So imagine that. Well, that's all I got to say, but have a nice one.
Okay, and back to you.
Bye-bye.
How do you like that? Now, what did he say? He was gay? Oh, his 5670560 pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. I don't know. It's just really incredible is what it is. It stretches your credulity. I'm stretching it right now without too much success. Broward County votes to proceed with full manual recount. Palm Beach, they're going to proceed as soon as they can figure out where to stick it. And then, of course, we got just 2.5 hours away. And it's a damn good thing the show will be over by then, because I couldn't stand 2 days in a row having that kind of stress. Another major announcement, because then the Secretary Bush is going to have to be getting by that deadline that she just keeps arbitrarily making up. Did the judge yesterday in his ruling say anything about a deadline for her to set? No. Oh, he talked about here you go, finally.
The Florida Supreme Court.
Warren Christopher, they talked him up.
A Tallahassee trial court pending legal disputes concerning the presidential election here in Florida. She has also suggested that the hand counting of ballots be suspended during this interim period. We think that the effect of this proposal would be to delay yet again the effort to ascertain the views and the will of the people of this state. At the same time, we think there is merit to the notion of moving to resolve the legal disputes more quickly to reach a faster and fairer resolution for all concerned. Therefore, we'll be responding today to Mrs. Harris's petition with our own proposal to speed up the resolution of the matter. Instead of sending the cases to a trial court here in Tallahassee County, we'll be asking the Supreme Court of Florida itself to resolve critical questions. Those questions are, first, whether the hand counts now ongoing are appropriate under Florida law, and if so, what is the deadline for their completion? Second, what are the standards for determining if a vote has in fact been cast, and whether a countywide hand count is justified and warranted? All of us share in a desire to have a speedy and accurate resolution of these questions. We hope that Secretary Harris and the Bush campaign will join with us and support this proposal to have the Supreme Court of Florida take charge of these questions and bring them to a speedy, rapid resolution.
All right.
We think it offers the best hope for moving the count here in Florida to a fair and speedy outcome for all. We disagree with Secretary Harris's call to suspend the vote to suspend the manual counting.
Keep them breathing.
Pending the outcome of the litigation. Let the counts continue, we believe, with an understanding that the ultimate status will depend upon the decisions reached by the Florida Supreme Court, we hope in a rapid and timely way. If the Supreme Court rules against any of these counts or clarifies the law in some respects, then appropriate steps can be taken with respect to the hand counts. Once again, as I indicated, we remain disappointed by the actions of the Secretary of State because we believe that the effect of them will be only to delay once again the counting of the votes. We hope that the Supreme Court of Florida will take this opportunity to speed the process to what we think is the goal of all of us, and that is to have a full, fair, and accurate count of the votes.
All right. Okay, and I misspoke yesterday. Come to find out that all 7 of the members of the Florida Supreme Court were appointed by Democratic governors. I just mentioned that in passing. Father Paranoia. 28 after 11 at 560 QN.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560 QAM.
11:32 at 560 QM. Warren Christopher is still he's running out of gas. He's still speaking. What do you say? And there was a good point that was raised by one of the, in reverse, one of the questions. And that is the Republicans didn't turn down those votes when they hand recounted part of Seminole County. They picked up 100 votes up there, about 98. And then Polk County just arbitrarily said, we're going to do a hand recount. And they picked up another 100. The Republicans didn't say, we don't want those votes because that's hand recounting and that's inaccurate and it's very subjective and yada yada. They said, okay, great. Now, if you took away those 198 votes, you know what that would leave them right now? 102.
Well, those were accurate hand recounts.
102. Now, what do you think that they would be saying if they were ahead right now? I mean, 300 is grotesque enough, but 102? I think they'd be heading for the hills. They'd be They'd be going back to the ranch. Here's a lady mobile in Kendall. Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
How you doing?
Good.
Listen, first of all, I just want to thank you, as others have, for just being a place where we, the people, can vent and voice our opinion.
That's me. Me, the people.
That's you, my friend. All right. About the other caller said about the Jeb had excused or recused himself. I really think that this woman should, and I just don't understand why the Democrats aren't pushing that.
Well, I think maybe they like the fact that she's so obviously partisan and she has no credibility. Maybe that lends to their cause.
Yeah, it could be. Maybe, as the other caller said, there's some things going on beneath the scenes that we certainly don't know about. But the thing that's interesting is, I don't know if anyone spoke to you about this, but the Florida voters voted that the Secretary of State position should be eliminated by the year 2000.
Right. This is the last one. Right. She's it.
Yeah, voters said that it was just a ceremonial.
She's a figurehead, right? She's about as much of an official as W is in Texas.
Yeah. But now she's going to decide who's the president of the United States. I mean, it's amazing. And also, that Ben Ginsburg guy showed up again. The Ilion vote.
Yeah, he's all of a sudden become just like Kendall Coffey now has become a raving liberal. Now Ben Ginsburg is an ultra right winger. Yeah.
But you notice something. You notice he didn't have the yarmulke on his head this time when he appeared on the show.
Yeah.
Oh, Neil.
Gee, you didn't want to get Baker upset.
Oh, man.
Okay, good luck to us, sweetheart. Bye-bye. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. You're following all this. Anybody keeping real close track?
No.
Keeping your thumb on it or what?
It's going to be too late. Under those circumstances,
here's David Boyce.
It would be very unreasonable to ask people to stop those recounts.
The man who reduced Bill Gates to the statue of a midget.
I hope not. But the game may be...
Oh, he already was a midget?
...recounts as long as possible, and then bring down the curtain.
Well, the game on your side should be that you don't want any type of deadline. So...
No, that's not true at all.
Did you agree to a deadline? It seems like the Secretary of State wants to get some resolution by a deadline.
And seem to keep pushing it out. And we do, too. And one of the things that's in our petition, and will be in our petition that Mr. Christopher referred to, was a request to the Florida Supreme Court to set a reasonable deadline. This is not a matter of weeks. This is a matter of days. We don't think it's a matter of hours, but we do think it's a matter of days. Palm Beach has said they'll get it done in a week. If you hadn't had the various opinions and other actions by the Secretary of State to stop the recount, we'd be a lot closer to having it done now. That's not a long period of time. It's not going to drag on indefinitely. It'll be done in a matter of days, and all we're saying is let the process continue. Let the votes get counted.
Are you telling me? Hold on, back here, and we're taking two more.
Your reputation has been staked on being able to sit down and negotiate with people. The same goes for Mr. Baker. While you have not been able to, as we've figured out here, you're not willing to say that under certain conditions you'll accept an endgame. Why have the two sides, why have you and Mr. Baker not sat down behind closed doors, figured out what's acceptable to both sides, then come out and say, that's it, we'll accept these terms?
I think you may have some idea as to why we've not gotten together. When you look at the proposal that Mr. Baker made yesterday, we should limit ourselves to the overseas ballots, plus the ballots that had come in by 5 o'clock yesterday. That wasn't, in my judgment, a serious proposal, and I'm not likely to start a negotiation on the basis of that kind of a proposal.
See, what it boils down to is Baker saying, hey, we got you by 300 votes, and we're pretty damn sure we're going to win the absentee ballots when those right-wing military people cast their vote. And that's it. So just agree with our side. So was it a great surprise they said, no, we don't think so. 5670560. How's our poll coming? 167 votes. If Al Gore loses this election, the main reason will be because of Ralph Nader. 59 votes out of 167. Ralph Nader is number one enemy right here.
You son of a bitch.
Election fraud, 51. A weak campaign, 22. Choosing Jew Lieberman as his running mate, 20. And a mediocre performance in the debates, 15. But winning so far is that obnoxious, pockmarked-faced piece of turd, that fossil from the Stone Age, Ralph, it's all about me, Nader. How do you like that? Say it again.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah. And wasn't I sitting here chewing people out and screaming and yelling before the election, don't throw your vote away and vote for Nader because every vote for Nader is another vote for GW. And we were thinking like, in Wisconsin and Oregon and Minnesota maybe and the state of Washington. And it's come to find out right here in this state of Florida, which is now 300 measly votes apart, that those 98,000 Nader votes overwhelmingly have tilted the balance in this election. Say it again.
You son of a bitch.
Good, I feel better. 21 till noon at 560 WQS.
I am juiced up right now.
In theaters now, from the producer of Charlie's Angels, it's Charlie Sheen's Angels.
You've got to be the best lover in the whole wide world. Yeah, Charlie.
I'm falling for you like a blind roofer.
Oh, my goodness.
Did you hear what I said? I said, come here. Come here, Daddy. Oh, you look so good.
Keep it up, you'll be carrying your face home in a doggy bag.
Charlie Sheen's Angels. Free beer for the first 5 rows.
Not playing the wind is like sleeping with your sister. Sure, she's a great piece of tail, a little gloss for the goodies, but it's just illegal.
Oh!
How's that hand job coming along, John?
16 till noon at 560 WQAM.
It's getting kind of red.
Here's the fact that says, here's the latest news for you. Heard Al Gore is bringing back Alien to help him count the votes. In fact, you know something? Let's bring back Alien, say that Al Gore is responsible for it, and recount and revote and Dade. Number 2, the old Jews were told to select hole number 2 if they wanted free soup with their early bird dinner, and hole number 3 if they wanted to vote for Al Gore, so they punched both because they wanted both. And number 3, they got confused because the early bird menu has the number to the right, and they've never seen a butterfly menu. Well, you know something? They might like it if they find out that butterflies are free. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Everybody's in court. Don't call and try to talk to anybody today, because except for us over here, everybody else, they're in court. Here's Boca. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay.
Hey, listen, what's going to take to, how much longer do you think Terry Murray's going to be around for? Because I can't take too much more of this losing.
Well, he's still there, isn't he? Like Nader said yesterday, how could any of them still be there? How could the Murrays and how could Tory still be there? Beats me.
Right.
I think it's those naked pictures of Wayne with that billy goat. I think as long as they got those, they're safe.
Yeah, I don't think Bill Torrey's got his bow tie on tight enough.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you used to play a lot of your Leaf highlights, and I've heard lately, but you don't play too much more of the Pittsburgh Penguins stuff. Is there a reason why, or?
Because I'm phasing back, like I said before, on the hockey stuff, because there's nobody in this town interested in hockey, so why should I shoot myself in the foot?
Well, can you do me one favor and play a little more Pittsburgh?
No. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T. I mean, Mike Lang is great. He's a friend of mine, all that other good stuff. But am I a Penguin fan?
No.
No, see, I'm a Leafs fan. That's why I play the Leafs highlights, in addition to which Joe Bone is the best in the world. Do we have any Leafs highlights today? See, I would actually play some Leafs highlights with Bob Cole from Saturday, but when you blow a 3-2 lead with 4 seconds left and you have to settle for a tie, it's, even I wouldn't play that. So, no, I'll pass. 5670560. I mean, I'd be glad to talk more hockey, but there's no hockey fans here. There's nobody here. Nobody cares. They don't know. It's a one-dimensional, and all they're talking about, you can turn on all the sports shows, is the goddamn BCS pool. All these overgrown children. What have I said about this? Haven't I said that for years? College football pool mentality. And now that they have this championship game and this stupid-ass BCS college pool with all these ratings based... I mean, let's face it. When you're playing McNeese State and you're playing all these girls' schools like Temple and Hofstra and Vassar and Palm Beach Atlantic University... what the hell do you expect? The fact that they're even rated the Hurricanes is a miracle. Oh, they beat number 1 and 2. Yeah, but half of their games are against girls' schools. And how do you compare, not that it really makes any difference in the first place, except, like I said, for a bunch of overgrown children who want to feed their own egos. Oh, yeah, my school's number 1. Yeah, but you're still a moron. You know, so what difference does it make? Who cares? If they see in professional sports, I hate to break the news to you, but they play what are supposed to be the other professional teams in their league. Even though some of them, like the Panthers, there's a question mark whether they're professional or not. But I mean, that's the way that works. So there is at least some balance. But in college football, you got some of these schools that they play 1 or 2 tough teams, and then they play a bunch of girls' schools the rest of the year. Thank God there's all those military schools for Notre Dame to keep beating. Here's a call from Rochester. Hello.
I'm banging over here.
Yes.
Neil. How you doing, Neil? I'm
okay.
Here in Rochester for 5 months.
Oh, yeah. Nice timing, too.
I heard
Just
when
wait
it
till
snows,
the first 20 feet of snowfall next week.
Yeah, I heard when it snows, it doesn't stop snowing.
That is correct.
Till June.
Mm-hmm.
Help. What's going on, Neil? I miss you. I really do.
Yeah? Well, at least you folks had your election straightened out up there anyway. We got problems.
Hey, there's no corruption in the state of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
No, that never happened.
Okay, well, listen, have a couple of white hots for me, and good luck to you. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line, out-of-town line, for calls hopefully better than that. Oh, look at this. Here's Norma Kent again, who's becoming, getting his own show now.
Well, I'm just trying to update you on the law.
Of course.
Although I've just been devastated by you calling Hofstra a girls' school.
Let me say it again. Girls' schools like Vassar and Hofstra, and here's a girl to prove it. Go ahead.
No, come on. Hofstra's the Harvard of Hempstead.
Yeah. Like I said, girls' schools like Harvard and all those other Ivy League schools.
Here's the significance of what Warren Christopher said as compared to what James Baker said.
Okay.
First and foremost, the Republican Party went to court to stop the hand count. The Democratic Party went to court to ask the Supreme Court to enforce the law which provides for hand counts. In fact, we've been doing some research, found out this is probably the first time anyone has ever gone to court, and these Republicans are supposed to be strict constructionists interpreting the statute. This is the first time anyone's went to court to stop enforcement of the law, because it turns out the legislative intent of the statute was that we don't want to rely solely on machines in a close election. And because we don't want to rely on machines, the courts have said that we want to rely on what the will and intent of the voters was. And the only way to do that is to provide statutorily, in the event the machine balloting is too close, for a hand recount.
For a hand job, yeah.
So you got it. So what really happened is that the Democrats are going to the Supreme Court and asking the court to enforce the law. And the Republicans, in effect, have gone to court and asked the Supreme Court to stop enforcing the law.
Now, what's going to... do you really think that at 2 o'clock this afternoon, of course, there's all this other stuff going on in the meantime, but do you think she's going to have the chutzpah to say she won't accept the letters from Broward and Palm Beach that they're going to do their recount, that it's not valid reason?
I think that would be an arbitrary and capricious decision that would detrimentally revert back to the Republicans in a horrible way. I think she'll back off on that. She would be very foolish to do so, especially since the one thing that the Democrats and the Republicans just agreed on is they're willing to stipulate to the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court together. However, the Supreme Court itself, if they get hung up on legalese, they may turn around and decline jurisdiction and say something like, I'm sorry, this has to go through the trial and appellate court process before we take it.
Oh.
And there's that possibility.
They're not going to do that, though, are they?
I would hope that they did not. I would hope that they automatically presume that this is going to come to them anyway. But just like the federal court in Miami declined jurisdiction of the case saying it was a state issue, it could happen, even though everybody is in a rush to judgment, particularly the Republicans, because they just want to say it's over and
because they're ahead. They've got their 300 votes, and let's wrap it up right now.
Right, and you're exactly right. That's the way they're looking at it, and the media created that impression that Bush won.
But let me ask you this: suppose that all this legal wrangling, because the recount in Palm Beach and Broward, assuming it goes ahead, is going to take many days. You're talking about 500,000 votes plus in Broward, and almost that many in Palm Beach. So suppose we get to Friday, and by midnight, all these overseas ballots, what remains of them, comes in. And they count them all up, and then Saturday morning, Gore, without any more of this recount going on, Gore's ahead by 600 votes. Now, at that point, the Gore people are going to say, okay, let's certify, it's all over with.
Well, that's why it's very significant that the Democratic Party has gone to the Supreme Court and asked them to set any appropriate deadlines. They've said that, look, we want to know what the standard should be on what the date should be. They're saying whether any deadline should be set. As you well pointed out, Catherine Harris came up with this 2 o'clock deadline on her own. And even though the state provides for a November 17th deadline, the Supreme Court can say extenuating circumstances can extend it.
Yeah.
So you really have an option here of having the Supreme Court make a declarative judgment by potentially, tomorrow or the next day, outlining what the requirements for all these counties are, because as you said, Broward County just went ahead and ordered a canvass.
Yeah. And what about Dade County? Now, the Gore campaign is saying that they may sue Dade County and order them to go ahead and do the hand recount?
That's what they're talking about. But it may become moot if the Supreme Court rules against them. If a lot of these counties in the canvassing
how can the Supreme Court rule against them doing recounts? How, if that's the law?
I don't think they will. That's my whole point. I think that what's happening here is that the Supreme Court is trying to get a declarative ruling that the Democrats are going to get a declarative ruling from the Supreme Court that hand recounts are lawful, and that will allow the Dade County people and Broward County people to go forward, which they were reticent to do until they got that ruling.
Mm-hmm.
So it's what you're seeing is the unfolding of a judicial process in a very speedy fashion. And everybody should be thrilled that so far it's working properly.
Oh, yeah, we should be thrilled, yeah. I'm just tickled to death.
Everybody should be.
Yeah, I'm nauseated. This better be the last time that an election in the state of Florida is held like this. I don't want to start making any threats, but I'm just going to say it again. This better be the last time we do this.
Okay, and after you get off the air, there's something else I have to tell you about. So.
Well, why don't you hang on right now?
Okay.
Hang on. Where is it? Oh, there he is. Okay, let's do the break.
Sports Radio 560 WQAM Miami, Fort Lauderdale, a Beasley Broadcast Group station, and WQAM.com for the world.
Only in the Banana Republic, baby. Only in Miami.
Hey, yo, this meal is for everyone. Just shut up and try it. Hey, yo. In a box, you go lock with a fox wearing socks. It's no sweat, don't forget, let me get a new setting. Now I'm mad, yes I'm bad, cause I've had all I can. Will you go back to Whoville, but you will want food still. My voice, there's no choice, don't resist, I'll get pissed. Persistent and constant, I want you to consume the food that I now got. In my hot plate I bought, no excuse, Dr. Souci made me ruthless and cruel. The Grinch gives me pinches, where I'll give you stitches. So shut up and give up, open up and eat up. Just try it, no diet, you see that? You like it, I don't mean to be mean, but that's how I can be, cause I am the man who creates and ham. If I wasn't, I wouldn't be Sam. I am, in my mind, this is my master plan. After this, it's blue toast and jam, and I am the man who creates and ham. If I wasn't, I wouldn't be Sam. I am, in my mind, this is my master plan. You know me, I'm Mr. Sam, I am. Oh yeah. Yo, Cindy Lou Who, why don't you slice me up some roast beef? You guys know Dr. Souci? He's kicking it straight off and
Yeah, kick this. It's 11:59 at 560 WQM. Thanks to our friend Brad over at Tony's Pizza, 192nd and Northwest 2nd Avenue. Is that correct? And like that pizza just keeps getting better and better, and the delivery people just keep getting better and better. What are you laughing about? Hey, this is no laughing matter. Here's a fact says your influence reaches far and wide. Vote often and vote early. That's what I said. In Milwaukee, the Marquette University student newspaper Tuesday reported that 174 students admitted voting at least twice. Oh! All right. Now, Gore's got a lead in Wisconsin of, what is it? About 6,000 votes. So I don't think we have to worry about 174 students that voted at least twice, unless they voted like 50, 60 times apiece. Then it might get a little hairy. 5670560, pound 560 on our AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Nothing going on. They're all in there with the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court. It says, is there no provision under Florida law for a runoff vote? The race is a statistical tie, and if the vote result was in no, not in the presidential race. 219 votes on our poll. If Al Gore loses this election, the main reason will be because of Ralph Nader is leading number one. Nader with 77 votes.
You son of a bitch.
In fact, it's reloading right now. Like I said, Nader with 78 votes. Election fraud, 70. A weak campaign, 29. Choosing Jew Lieberman as his running mate, 27.
Boy!
And mediocre performance in debates, only 20. Swansig.
Anyway.
Yes?
The van.
Oh, the QAM van is at
Cypress Creek
Road and
Andrews on the northwest corner at the Starlight Diner.
Well, let me write that down. How the hell am I going to remember that? The Starlight Diner, which I never heard of, but it must be pretty damn good.
They are good.
Corner of what? Cypress Creek Road and what?
Andrews.
And Andrews?
That's what they said.
Are there like any white people on Andrews?
Up there?
Oh, that's right. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. Jesus K. Christ. So they're there from now till 2 o'clock. Joe Costello was there, I'm assuming, and the nephew, with our Best of Neil stuff, with our CDs and cassettes, and of course those nifty keychains and T-shirts for Planned Parenthood. So go up there and do it. Cough up some cash. Here's Pembroke Pines. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Love your show. Listen,
Now this is how Portville stuff gets passed. I see it now. Everybody's talking about Bush and Gore, and then you mentioned one little thing kind of under your breath about Steve Dahl is coming to South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh my God! Oh Jesus! I spend a lot of time in Chicago and I listen to on the WCKG the package. They got Howard Stern.
That's Mike Disney's station. Yeah, that jackass Mike Disney.
And then Jonathan Brandmeier is pretty good, and then following him is Steve Dahl. His show is so bad, but Neil, the worst part is he's mean. One time one of his people, he's got two people on the show with him.
Yeah.
All they do is say, like if Steve says, I think I'll wash my shirt today, they go, yeah, that's a good idea. It's like the boy that wishes them off into the cornfield.
Steve Dahl is a never was washed up. That's my opinion. I'm Mike Disney.
Yeah.
Well, is he really going to come here?
Yeah, they're going to be doing a show from West Pond to exploit all the stuff that's going on. And Mike Disney, who used to be my boss at IOD many years ago, briefly when he kept puking in a wastebasket, he wanted me to call him so I could arrange to be on with him. Like, I need more publicity. I need to be on the air in Chicago with Steve Dahl. And of course, the answer is
no. Yeah, but you on the air in Chicago, yeah, absolutely. Well, then
not
I won't
with
have
Steve
to.
Dahl.
Oh, please. I just don't know why do they hate Liz Wild so much? I just don't get it. I'd rather hear her 100 times than Steve Dahl.
Well, you won't be hearing her any times. And have a great day, pal. Oh, God. These talk show groupies. Oh, good God Almighty.
Well, how's Mr. Ego doing? And whatever happened to it?
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Lee Fowler? Is he still dead?
567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Many open lines now for the first time in days. I just mentioned that in passing because I think they're running out of gas. You feel it? They're running out of gas because how much more can you say? Although this is a blessing, just like the Alien thing, because what else will we have going on here? Anything else at all?
No.
Just that hockey crap, which I'd be glad to talk about, but nobody here cares about it. Nobody even knows who the hell they are. They don't know Brian Murray from Catherine Murray. So what the hell's the point of talking about that? Here's a lady in Fort Lauderdale. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. As far as all your choices are concerned, I'd say voter fraud.
Yeah.
The election is fraudulent.
It's fraudulent?
Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that Gore won. And last night, when they decided not to recount the votes in Dade, I was so aggravated. Since when we know it's going to turn the election towards Gore, would they choose not to recount the votes?
Beats the hell out of me.
It is absolutely deplorable.
But you got to keep in mind that if the Gore people go into court and sue them, the court might order them to go ahead and do it.
Well, they better.
Because Palm Beach is doing it, and the judge allowed Palm Beach County, it's official now, to set their own recount rules.
Here, let's keep panning to the left. Here you can see all of the reporters and photographers.
In other words, the judge says you decide if it looks good to you, if it's got a pregnant pause, a pregnant Chad.
There are dozens and dozens of reporters and camera crews from all over the nation here, predominantly the East Coast, but a lot from Midwest. And actually, Dan, let's pan over. Can you pan over a little bit through here? You'll see even more of them over here, and they're doing all of their live reporting in this small contained area that is outside the Florida Emergency Operations Center.
Oh, they're all jammed in there like sardines. Look at that.
We're behind closed doors, with a camera. Undertake the hand-by-hand ballot counting. It didn't happen because the canvassing board said two things. First of all, we don't know how to handle these pregnant, indented, dimpled ballots, nor do we know how to handle the hanging chads, the dislodged chad, partially dislodged. We're going to go to court. So they went to a circuit court judge. A short time ago, he said, decide for yourself. You have the latitude and the discretion to make up your own rules.
Do whatever you like.
But they're not going to do that because in the interim, while that court hearing was taking place, Bob, they came back out here and they said, we're going to suspend indefinitely because the Secretary of State has now filed a petition before the Florida Supreme Court until this case is decided. We're not going to make a move. Now, all of this is coming amid very serious accusations of voter fraud and allegations of criminality if proven. This is a document that was filed by Republicans. They are claiming that one of the board members here, Carol Roberts, has engaged in switching ballots in favor of Al Gore and against Governor Bush in her capacity on the canvassing board. They're saying she mutilated and manipulated ballots and destroyed the integrity of the process.
They said she mutilated her eyelashes.
Observers who they claim have filed affidavits in federal court saying that she has done these things. She insists it is not true and that she has done nothing wrong. Now, earlier today, I had the chance to talk to the attorney for the Democratic Party. His name is Dennis Newman. He had this to say.
This is a desperate attempt by the Republicans to throw the focus off the fair and accurate counting of the votes here. All of the commissioners handled those ballots in the same manner that she did. They had to look at it, held the ballots up, looked at them, they passed them around, and I might add, of the hundreds of challenges, that 99.9% of them, there was a unanimous vote by the board. All three agreed.
Are you saying that the three people who signed affidavits swearing under penalty of perjury that they observed this manipulation and degradation and switching of ballots are lying?
Yes.
All right, now look, the Republicans are saying that Carol Roberts is biased, but there are charges that are flying on both sides. For example, there are Democrats who say the Secretary of State, Katherine Harris, is biased.
Oh, no.
Just to show you how absurd this is getting, Bob, Ken Blackwell, who is the Secretary of State in Ohio, flew down here to try to defend Ms. Harris. I talked to him earlier. Let's listen.
The reality is that we are a country of laws. This is a state of laws. She's being guided by the law, not by her partisan affiliation.
But how can people be sure?
Well, one, because the law is pretty clear, and we have courts to interpret the law, and I think that's what the judge did yesterday.
He looks like an Uncle Tom to me. Bush Cheney spokesman with that shade of, oh, brother. Yeah, sell out Uncle Tom. Probably doing it with that Watt guy, that J.C. Watt. 8 minutes after noon at 560 WQM.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Oh, I'd like to know who won the election. Said I'd like to know who won the election. Count the vote, baby, count the vote over, count the vote, baby, count the vote over, count the vote. Ever since this presidential race began, I've often wondered who was going to win. Some Palm Beach people went to do their voting chore. So count up all the ballots and find out who's gotten more. Those old folks seem to have one thing in common. Looks like lots of them just gave their votes to Patrick Buchanan.
Boy!
So I'd like to know who won the election. Yes, I'd like to know who won the election. Count the vote, baby, count the vote over, count the vote, baby, count the vote over, count the vote. The final tabulation started coming in. Then I saw a news flash on Channel 10. Some angry people all together in a bunch. They said they were confused and didn't know which hole to punch. Those old folks seem to have one thing in common. Looks like lots of them just gave their votes to Patrick Buchanan. So I'd like to know who won the election. Said I'd like to know who won the election. Oh, I'd like to know who won the election. Yes, I'd like to know who won the election. Count the vote, baby, count the vote over, count the vote, baby, count the vote over, count the vote. How many for Bush? Count the vote. How many for Gore? Count the vote. How many for Bush? Count the vote. Are there any more? Count the vote. You messed up the ballot. Count the vote.
It's a mess, all right. 12:15 at 560 QAM. It says, in a crucial observation overlooked in most news stories, but going to the heart of the hand count dispute. Federal Judge Donald Middlebrooks pointed out that the most precise and compelling reason that hand count should go forward, machine tabulation of Florida's paper ballots typically has an error rate of 5%, far higher than the minuscule margin by which Bush leads Florida's voting. And on Tuesday, Terry Lewis, Leon County judge, seemed to be almost begging those 4 counties to continue their hand recounts. It's not hard to see why. Harris moved, that's the Secretary of Bush, to cut off ballot-by-ballot counting just as voting officials in Volusia County turned up precisely the sort of error that only a careful human review of election results can reveal, an entire bag of ballots, more than 300 of them, in the back seat of a polling clerk's car. Even Volusia County's canvassing board chairman, Michael McDermott, who was until Monday a staunch defender of the machine counts, now admits he was wrong. At the same time, Broward elections officials were sorting their way through a possible voting machine error whose impact could be seismic. 6,600 ballots mysteriously showing no vote for presidential candidate, apparently because in many cases vote count machines could not detect the hole punched only partway through. By pressing to cut off a careful vote count, Harris and the Bush team are defying public sentiment. According to the new CBS New York Times poll, fully 2/3 of the public across party lines believe there should be no rush to judgment. There may be another reason for the short-circuited count being shoved down the throat of reluctant electorate by Harris and the brothers Bush to forestall exposure of even deeper sleaze tactics. And in fact, hints of GOP sleaze worthy of the old Chicago Daily Machine are mounting. Already it's been revealed that Republican officials in Seminole County solicited hundreds of absentee ballots by Bush that lacked required voter IDs and then completed the ballots themselves in defiance of a tough state absentee ballot law passed after Miami's fraudulent mayoral election in 1998. In Palm Beach County, a Republican judge had to recuse himself from yesterday's case because he was overheard in the elevator promising to clean Gore's clock. And at the national level, what we know about John Ellison Fox, we know that. How do you like that? Let me read that first sentence again. It's been revealed that Republican officials in Seminole County solicited hundreds of absentee ballots by Bush voters that lacked required voter IDs, then completed those ballots themselves in defiance of a tough state absentee ballot law passed after Miami's fraudulent mayoral election in 1998. I wonder how many dead people voted by absentee in Seminole County. Remember, that's where they came up with the extra 99 votes for Bush? God, this is disgusting. Here's a lady in Miami. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, hi. Why is this Lapone woman allowed to keep her job and be a high-profile, be a decision-maker after her debacle?
Well, she's a member of the canvassing board. After that, they're going to electrocute her. They're going to fire up old Sparky again.
I think they're going to keep her on because they'd be afraid of a lawsuit.
They're going to keep her on?
Yeah, because she could sue them for saying, on what basis are you firing me? You know,
because she's inept. How's that for starters? Because she screwed up the whole presidential election with a deceptive ballot.
Absolutely. So why don't they fire her right away?
Well, because they want to make sure that she stays on there and does the right thing.
Well,
they made her an offer she can't refuse.
Well, but she's not. She voted against already. She voted on the Republican side, and the paper said she's a so-called Democrat, but she's already been voting with Republicans to halt the votes. So there's something very, very fishy.
See, I don't understand what's wrong with them up there, because you'd think that once the judge told them to use their own discretion, that they'd be counting frantically right now, because if 2 o'clock comes, you know what I'm saying, they could be counting thousands of ballots by then. And if they wind up, with a significant number of additional votes for Gore by 2 o'clock, that would put more pressure on the Secretary of Bush. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes,
it would make it look even worse if she says, well, I'm not going to accept Broward and Palm Beach.
That's basic common sense.
Right.
So I have to figure that there's something, a Republican, something is stopping this. I don't know what that is.
Well, maybe somebody made him an offer they can't refuse.
Can I ask you this, too?
Sure.
Global warming, this issue is going on all over The Hague, in the Netherlands and all. And the U.S. normally would be challenged to do their part, since we contribute 36% to this global warming with our pollution.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now we're so distracted with this election that we're probably not going to even be a part of that, and that is gravely serious to this planet.
Yeah, well, tell George W. about it. He believes in voluntary.
If he gets in, that's the Antichrist.
Yeah.
I really think this is.
Well, once he gets in, every city in America can look just like Houston.
And why don't people care about that?
Because they're dumb.
Thank you, Neil.
Have a great day.
Bye.
If they cared about it, the environment wouldn't be in the state that it's in right now. If they cared about these things. But we don't care about that. We don't care about nature because we got God. We got Jesus. We got Moses. We got Jew Lieberman. We got all this Bubba Mices. So they all talk a good game, but they don't give a crap about the planet and about the environment and all of these things.
This existence is nothing.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We got that other one up there when we go to heaven and we say, oh, God, you're good. Oh, God, yeah.
This is the appetizer.
Right. Well, it must be really crowded up there in that cockroach heaven, you know?
They're animals anyway.
Let them lose their... 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. You know about the Polish people, don't you? Let them lose their... Oh, I can't stand it. I can't take it anymore. I'm here to tell you right now, I can't stand any more of this. This is the biggest farce, the biggest charade, and the propaganda machine from both sides is in full swing now because America's the best and the brightest. Yeah, right. America's a joke. This country's a joke. We got technology. We got people listening to me on the internet all over the goddamn world right now. We can do any goddamn thing we want. We can send men into outer space. We can even flush a toilet here, unlike in Amsterdam. We can make it flush and all go away. Right away. But can we do an election?
No.
No. No, we're using archaic crap from before George Washington was an embryo. Embarrassing stuff. Here's a mobile in Coconut Creek. Hello.
Coconut Creek.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, watch, I'm not on a mobile.
Here's a stationary in Coconut Creek.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, I love your show. It's funny.
It is.
Like some of your songs.
It's a panic.
Hey, you know, aside from the Hurricanes not playing in probably the sorriest division in college football, they play one less game and all the teams competing for the national championship.
Are you picking on the Hurricanes now, sir?
Oh, are you kidding me?
The fact that they play 18 girls' schools every year, like
18, and then they only have to win their one tough game, and then what do they? Oh, they play in the Org.
Calm down. I don't want to talk about it. Call up Hank. 5670560, pound 560. Sir, we can sum it all up with due respect. I have to waste a lot of time.
The Hurricanes fucking blow.
Amen. Yeah, but they're going to be number one, baby. They're going to be number... Yeah, and suppose they are. Well, and then what? Then what? The college football poll mentality, man, this is pathetic. This is America. This is the sports nerds. Oh, my school's number one. And like, remember the day I took that poll, how many actually went to UM? You know how many people in the whole audience went to UM?
None.
Yeah. And I think that was an exaggeration. Because I don't think most people that go to UM can count all the way up to...
None.
No. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Here's Hollywood. Hello. Hollywood.
Yes, hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Yes, hi. Big fan. I saw did you see the Al Gore speech yesterday when he was talking about, I wouldn't want to win.
2 days ago. Yeah, he wouldn't want to win. But listen, if he won by a half a vote, he'll take it, and so will Bush.
It would kill if he don't bother to win.
Yeah.
You know he was lying then.
And how about Bush?
What did Bush say?
No, how about him?
What about him?
5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T. Well, see, he's a Bush licker. He's like, they got to be just as dumb. Remember that song by Luther Campbell, As Dumb as They Want to Be? Remember that?
Uh-huh.
Well, don't mention Luther Campbell. Here's Hollywood. Hello.
Yes, sir. Neil, how are you?
Okay.
Big blood guy from Hollywood. Called you about a week or so ago, maybe about 2 weeks ago, and I told you that I used to get a sense by that song you played about the crack cocaine. You don't remember that, huh?
Play what?
You played some song with this brother singing about crack cocaine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I told you how...
Crack City, yeah, I remember the call, yeah.
Well, I know you poke in front of everybody. You're equal opportunity, fun guy. Listen, let me...
No, I'm not poking fun. I'm just being honest. And that is that a lot of the black people and a lot of the old Jews that voted in this election don't know their ass from my elbow. That's why we have such a problem. I mean, I admit the ballots are confusing, but for crying out loud, when it's something as important as this, stick it in the right hole, man.
Absolutely.
I mean, with the tremendous ability to procreate that you people have got, you think you'd be able to stick it in the right hole?
Well, let me just say this. First of all, I got to give you your props, man. I mean, in other words, I think that because you sent the message out about how important this voting was.
Yeah.
And one of these jerks about voting for Ralph Nader, a vote for Nader being a vote for Gore, for Bush, was absolutely excellent. We had the same thing going on with other radio hosts of the country also. It was a national drive. And I got to tell you something, there were more African Americans that participated in this election than ever in the history of this country.
That is correct. And if somebody would have just told them where to sit, where to put it.
I really wish we had a little more time to get the instructions down, but at least they came out.
That's true.
But the other thing is this. Here's what I think really happened on this thing. I don't think the Republicans expected that Dunny to win. I think what happened was when they finally found out that the race was so close, as we already knew, the polls told us we were dead even. And everybody should have expected a dead even race. This is nothing new. It shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. What's bad about it is that I think they found that dummy was winning through default, and that's why they want to stop the votes. I mean, they're counting the votes right now to stop the win and close the door.
Right.
If they're so certain that Al Gore's not going to beat him, and that they've got this, why don't they just let the guys count this thing out, count the overseas absentee ballots, if they think this it's in his favor, and surely he should still win. I mean, I was told that it's a proportionate thing. If Gore picks up votes in the recounts, so does Bush. So, I mean, if it's going on a proportionate basis...
Right, that's right. Bush won a lot more counties in the state than Gore did, that's right.
Absolutely.
That's the way to do it.
The bottom line is, what you can see is, they didn't expect this dummy to get as good as he did. And this whole thing comes from his father. His father's pissed off at Bill Clinton for kicking his butt back in 92.
Right.
8 years of Democrats.
They want the keys back, that's right.
They want the keys to 1600 Pennsylvania, baby.
You got it.
That's what they want.
Well, we're not giving them up.
There you go, man.
Okay.
I'll tell you this. I think in closing, I think the final thing's going to happen is this. It's starting to get ugly now. What's happening now is, with the Republicans starting to go to court,
yeah,
this thing is going to get so ugly, one of two things may happen. Either one, they may have to just completely make a decision, barring Florida, in this whole election, something would be unconstitutional, or they would at least have to let us either have a Palm Beach revote or have a statewide revote for this presidential
There you go.
election.
Let's have another statewide election. It'll take a good time. Okay, brother, hang in there.
Glad you got it.
Okay, and tell those brothers where to stick it. 27 afternoon at 560 WQF.
So this is Andrew Neal. I was calling today to tell you about AT&T's newest calling plans that can simplify your calling and reduce your phone bill.
Wait, who are you again?
AT&T.
AT&T, and you're calling for what?
To tell you about our newest calling plan.
Your newest calling plan?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Well, here at AT&T, like I said, we do have some calling plans that can simplify your calling and reduce your phone bill. If you don't mind me asking, what... Hello?
You don't mind me, I'm on the toilet while I'm talking to you.
Oh, okay. What kind of lunch is this, Carrie?
What's your question again?
What kind of lunch is this?
Hello?
Do you have?
We must use AT&T, I don't know.
Okay, so would there be a better time for me to call her back?
What?
Would there be a better time for me to call her back?
No, you gotta talk to me, because I have the phone here in the bathroom, and I don't want to get up and hang it up, so keep talking to me, all right? Tell me more about your deals.
Okay, so you say, you think you're with us here at the MCI or Sprint?
What? What?
So you think you're with MCI or Sprint or AT&T?
Something like that.
Something like that? Okay, do you know what kind of rate you're currently getting? Hello?
Do you prefer to roll it up, or do you wad it?
Here, you start. Can you say that one more time?
Oh, I'm making a poopy. You make a poopy? Hello?
12:32, she hung up again. At 560 WQM, we got Hank at 2, we got Wiener and Eisenberg. Stugatz and Mark Eisenberg at 6 o'clock for half an hour because we had nothing else to put in there. We got Geldy on game night, 6:30 to 7 with the pregame, and then, of course, the Panthers at the Hurricanes at 7. Eddie K after the hockey game, after another Panther loss, and believe me, if they play in Carolina like they did the other night, you don't want to know the final score. Here's Coral Springs. Hello.
Hi.
Yes,
Uncle
sir.
Neil.
Yes, I am.
Great to talk to you.
Yes, it is.
I've been out of town for the last couple of days, so I haven't really listened to your show. Have you said anything about Jesse Jackson, or have you given us any idea of why he is in town?
What do you mean why he's in town? He's in town to exploit the situation. That's what he's all about.
You know what he reminds me of, Neil?
What is that?
He reminds me of my dog when I walk him in my yard, how he walks around and smells other dogs' crap.
Yeah.
He's definitely not helping this situation. He's only making it worse. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thanks so much. Do you see any impact at all by him one way or the other? I don't. No. But thanks very much for your tremendous input, and go smell some more. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Here's Gary Farmer, who's some plaintiff's attorney.
Was to have the votes of Palm Beach
Some
County
Democrat plaintiff's attorney.
No, I certainly do not want to disenfranchise the voters of Palm Beach County. That's never been our intention. In fact, our intention has been to ensure that certain voters of Palm Beach County are not disenfranchised. So if we are faced with the situation of no revote, your choices are go home or I'm throwing out all the votes in Palm Beach County, we would go home. We do not seek to get all the votes in Palm Beach County thrown out.
Justin, take more of a stand on the whole ballot issue.
No, I'm not. Again, he's in such a tough position, and I think both sides made valid points in their arguments, and I think Judge Lombardo really fashioned a fair compromise. The problem, as I understood the arguments today from the Gore lawyers, was that they don't want these pregnant Chad ballots to just be absolutely not counted. They just wanted them to be reviewed. And as I understand the process that goes on with the manual recount, you've got one Democrat and one Republican looking at the ballot as it's held up. And so if those people, if one Democrat and one Republican agree that there's an indication of a definite choice on that ballot, the ballot should be counted.
There you go. Amen. Here's a www.countergroup.org. This site is calling for a massive demonstration this Saturday around the country for a Democratic presidential election. They planned it in 144 cities, and it's growing like crazy, and yada yada. So if you want to get involved in that, you want to look at it, countercoup.org. Will you get it right? Well, I'm in the middle of lunch. www.countercoup, C-O-U-P. You got it? Countercoup.org, as in orgy. Thank you. Here's a lady in Pembroke Pines. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Neil.
How you doing?
Good to speak to you.
Oh, I should mention that Joe Costello and the nephew up there at the Starlight Diner, corner of Southwest Creek Road and Andrews, with the QM van and collecting money for Planned Parenthood. And by the way, we're not giving anything away. It's money that we're raising for charity with the CDs, cassettes, and keychains. We're not giving anything away for free. So all you cheap bastards up there, if you're looking for free stuff, stay away from our guys. Go ahead, ma'am. I'm sorry.
That's okay. This is a great example of how one person can make the difference. And I suggest that Nader is the entire cause of this mess.
He's the sugar in the
He is the cause
He's
of
the
this
Antichrist.
entire
Right.
mess.
El Anticristo.
And I think that we should all get together, tar and feather this asshole,
Yeah.
run him out
Tar
of
and feather
town,
this asshole.
and we never see him again.
Okay, sounds good to me. We'll work on it over the weekend. Here's another project for you. After you do countercoup.org, after we finish with that demonstration, after we railroad Jesse Jackson and run his ass back to Chicago, then we're going to get Ralph Nader, tarred and feathered. In fact, remember that duck that was running around yesterday morning in the building? I think that was Ralph Nader.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, looked like him. Yeah, fossil in a duck suit we had running around. First we thought it was George Beasley, then it turned out to be Ralph Nader. He had a Corvair fan belt stuck around his ass. 22 before 1 at 560 WQAM as the beat goes on and there, ba, 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 ba. I don't know about you, but I can't, unless there's something profound that comes down, I just can't listen to too much more of that. Can you?
No.
I can't. It's reached the point now where there's so many plaintiffs and so many attorneys and so many lawsuits, I don't even know who the hell they're talking to. I mean, this guy's very articulate. He says things that I like because naturally he's on the Gore side, so I like it, and the Bush people don't like it. But who the hell is he? Gary Farmer. Wonder if he's kin to Fannie. Ever have Fannie Farmer candy?
Yes.
Oh, it's okay.
Been for a long time.
It's no Godiva. Although Godiva is overpriced. And there's nothing worse than when you get like a box of Godiva chocolates and you pick one, like on the plane, some airlines. They'll give you Godiva chocolates for dessert, like in business or first class, and they put the thing in front of you. And I do this all the time, and it's not usually Godiva, it's cheaper chocolates. And you pick one out because it's bigger than the other ones, and they only give you one. They'll slap your hand if you try to take more than one. And you pick, and it's like coconut. Oh, yeah. I hate coconut.
Or the pink stuff.
Oh, jeez. I hate that pink stuff.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Holy Mackinac! This is Joe Bowen, the voice of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and you're listening to the Hockey Authority, Neil God.
Here they come to the pole in their Mercury's walkers and canes to catch their boat. It's too hard to see. That's what some are complaining. There's too many holes, should I punch it or not? Look at this ballot, it's all on the top. It's Florida voter confusion. And this butterfly ballot they're using has got everybody's eyes crossed trying to vote. This whole election is out of control. The ballots are lost and they can't find the hole. Where did the ballot box go? Nobody knows. It's Florida voter confusion. It's Florida voter confusion. The polls are closed. Let's go home to watch network TV for returns on the final results. They say it's Gore. Wait, not anymore. Now they say it's Bush. We've been up all night and Florida still don't seem right. 'Cause some ballots were stuck inside somebody's trunk. Thank everybody in Florida who voted for Governor Jeff. It should be very clear what happened down here. Jeff wants Georgie to win, but they're counting again. And that's how it's done in Florida. Inept, inefficient, and dumb, not to mention corrupt. Now everybody around the world knows that Florida's loaded with all the wrong holes. America's land is the land of the walking dead. It's Florida voter confusion.
Yes.
It's Florida voter confusion. She's a whole mystic going around. Florida voter confusion. Help me here. Florida voter confusion. It's Florida voter confusion.
Floridians, dumb as dirt.
Well said, sweetheart. It's 12:45 at 5:60. 2 p.m. deadline coming up for Florida counties to justify hand recount. Now, I want you to stop and think how ridiculous this is. They have till 2 o'clock to justify the hand recount, but in the meantime, the Secretary of Bush, she's in court, in the Supreme Court, and the Bush people just joined her suit, by the way. They joined her lawsuit to try to stop the manual recounting of votes. And yet she's put herself in a position where at 2 o'clock she's going to have to justify these, she's going to have to agree with these letters to justify the hand recounts which are now in Broward and Palm Beach. What do you say about that? The fox guarding the chicken coop. I mean, the legal machinations going on right now are just unbelievable. They're incredible. Here's a mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, Will, how you doing?
Okay.
Good. You know what? I don't know if you ever found out, but I heard somebody mention on your show that if the ballot was not completely filled out, that it was thrown out.
That's not true.
That's not true?
No.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I never heard any follow-up, and I didn't know if Norma Kent was listening.
No, it's not true. If the ballot is whatever you filled out, those races your ballot counts, but, you know, then as far as the presidential election is concerned, they put those in the undervote pile, and they have to check those out if the recount goes on.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Okay, you bet. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon Wireless.
There are $500 and still have people showing up thinking that there's something free there.
Let me say it again. There is nothing free at the Starlight Diner, okay? Including Joe Costello, including the nephew, including lunch. There's nothing free up there. See, I told you, Cypress Creek Road and Andrews, not too far from Winmore. You know what I'm saying?
Oi!
I guarantee you, all the old blue, hey, they're giving away stuff free, let's go over there, the diner. The answer is no. Isn't it interesting that a lot of the same people who couldn't find the which hole to punch on Election Day, they can smell out a free anything from 100 miles away. Anything. And they can get there like in the exact place. Anything else, they're driving around, they're lost, they're weaving in and out in front of you in traffic. But if there's something free or an early bird going on, they're there as punctual as the day is long. We have nothing for free for you yentas. Go away. We're taking donations for Planned Parenthood in exchange for the Best of Neil CDs and cassettes and T-shirts and those great Best of Neil keychains. We don't want any schnorrs in there. You know what it reminds me of? Way back when I was still at KAT, 1977. And it's a long story how I got involved in that health food store I had over there in Souci 23 years ago. And I'm going to tell you something. Heinrich Himmler would have been proud. I got bottles of vitamins and, all this stuff in there, good merchandise, terrible area. And they'd come in, and even when I had a going out of business sale, because of those cheap bastards in the area, I had to wind up going out of business. A going out of business sale, I had the stuff marked down like 40 and 60%. They'd come in, pick up a bottle, and the price, of course, is like a little, price tag on top of every bottle, and they're whistling.
Doesn't that make it cheaper?
Yeah, when you whistle. Whistle while you jerk. See, I'm not whistling that good because I just had lunch. Yeah, see, not too good after you eat. But at any rate, that's what it would be like. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Yes, sir.
I just want your opinion on what the solution for this big mess is.
On what the solution is?
Yeah.
To solve the whole problem?
Right.
Here you go.
I don't know.
I have no idea. I already gave my solution. I said leave Bubba in there another 4 years and keep these two lunkheads out. That's my solution. They both suck. 5670560. Oh, now she's not there again, is she?
And his decision, and they have made much of criticism.
No, I thought that bitch was on there again, the Secretary of Bush. They've made much of it because she's a goddamn partisan bitch. Everybody knows that. She's the campaign chairman for Bush in the state of Florida. She's the self-appointed dictator. And she's petitioned the Supreme Court to suspend the manual recount. She has been joined by her partners in crime, the Bush campaign, in that petition to the Supreme Court. And yet, an hour and 11 minutes from now, she's going to take a look at the letters from Broward and Palm Beach, and she's going to decide whether they have valid reason to go ahead with the recounts. How do you like that? Well, I hope Hank is keeping track of that, because I know he's the one person in our sports staff on this radio station who's got enough common sense that he'll keep his eye on that, and when the ruling comes down, we'll have it on the air here. Because I think a lot of us would like to know. And you're certainly not going to hear it on the news station in this market, no. That's a news station like my little dog is a brain surgeon. Here's Miami. Hello.
Hello, Neil.
Yes, sir.
They're driving from Hollandale to that diner of yours, all the Yentas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Gore supporter and voted for the lesser of the two evils. But it looks like at this point they're just whining and waiting to get the outcome they want.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, what do you think about that?
No, I don't believe that. I think that I think both, you could say that about both sides. The Bush people now are frantic to stop the recounting because they're afraid they're going to find 10 more votes for Gore. And on the other side, it can be said that they're trying to get a number that they want.
Do you know how many absentee ballots are outstanding right now?
Well, you know, all of a sudden last night they said there were 18,000. First they were saying there was 2,300. Now it was 18,000 overseas ballots, of which about 9,000 I guess have already come in. So they're like maybe 9,000. So if we can get about 7,000 old Jews to vote from Israel, I think we might be in.
Okay, but when will they have those counted by? Friday?
By Friday at midnight. They have to be postmarked by Friday at midnight, and then they have to count them Saturday morning.
Okay, and then what about in Palm Beach? You had a guy on the air earlier. He said he wanted to do something in Palm Beach, a revote or...
Well, they're not going to have any revote. They're not even recounting right now. They're waiting until this Secretary of Bush at 2 o'clock gets their letter. They both, Broward and Palm Beach, have sent a letter to her to justify the reason for their recount, and she's arbitrarily going to make a decision whether you can go ahead or not.
Okay, I've got 3 solutions.
Yes, sir.
First of all, they shouldn't be complaining about the Palm Beach ballot because they approved it prior to election.
It doesn't make any difference. That's a technicality. If it's illegal, it doesn't make any difference that they made a mistake. You can't lay that on the voters. The voters have a right to have their vote counted.
Well, I understand that, but the voters also should be a little more diligent in punching out the right number and looking at it after they punch the number.
Well, I got news for you. If you would have seen the ballot, you wouldn't be saying that so cavalierly. What point number 2?
Well, okay, point number 2 is there's so much chaos in all these precincts. The average age of the poll worker is about 90 years old.
110.
I mean, get some young people in there.
Right.
Know what's
and you
going on.
know how they could do that if they made Election Day a national holiday, which I've been screaming for years. Instead of just having these old retirees in there whose average age is 255, and then we could get some leave it. Hey, it's just like the people in Palm Beach that were looking at these ballots the other day. You see some of them? They're holding the ballot up to the light, and they can't even see the ballot
the counters are old people also. They have big, thick glasses on and everything.
Right.
But if Election Day is a national holiday, you don't have people jamming in there 2 hours before work and 2 hours after work trying to get their votes in.
Amen.
All right. Have a good day.
God bless us all. But like I said,
Neil, God
bless us all. I'm getting a headache from it. I can't stand it. Let's talk hockey. What do you say?
No.
5670560. Pont, let's talk about Elian. What do you say? Elian. Come on, let's play all the Elian bits again. Let's bring him back. God, that was a lot of fun. That'd be a good poll question, George. Which was more fun, the election recount or the Alien stuff?
Oh, this is way more fun.
Yeah? No, I don't think so.
It's a fight.
No, that was more fun. There was more pop. Yeah, more of those people.
No, this is nationwide. Everybody's interested.
But at least Kendall Coffey's back. Here's Boca. Hello. Boca.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm not a chronic. I called a few years ago about some frogs that skipping on a bill in a restaurant up in Boca, but this call is a non-recount vote.
call about Vegas.
A non-recount vote about Vegas?
Yeah, I just called about Vegas. I just came back and had a good time at the Monte Carlo.
Uh-huh.
But everything was comped. We were fine. We made a couple of bucks. So when we left there, we got a bill for $272 for our phone. And we were never told about what the charges would be. And my cousin who stayed in the adjoining room got a bill for about $270. And they wouldn't comp it. They wouldn't take it off. The calls were $11 a piece.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Call up Action Line. 567. Yes.
So they were $540. And since you said that it was for donations for Center One, people naturally are assuming that they can come in and donate $1 and get the CD. So that's the new thing.
Let me say it again. It's $20 because this is the way we do it. We've never encountered this, and you guys sure know how to pick the areas, baby. Why don't you go to Winmore next? That would be good. And then you can go to Cemetery Village. Yeah, and you can console those poor bastards who voted for Buchanan if they're still alive, if they haven't off themselves yet, if they haven't pulled the plug. $20 for the keychain, $20 for the cassette or the CD, $20 for the T-shirt. It's one standard price. No tax. It's for charity. It's for Planned Parenthood of Palm Beach and Broward.
So for 20, I can get anything I want.
Take your 20 and stick it out. All you audiences, stay away from our people, okay? Stay away. You're polluting our environment up there. God. At the Starlight Diner, corner of Cypress Creek Road and Andrews. Let's get some people under the age of 100 up there who understand what it's all about and who want to get the best of Neil stuff. Yeah, it's all you old farts, all you freeloaders, all you walking billboards for anti-Semitism. Here's a mobile in North Miami Beach. Hello.
Hey, how long are they going to be there at the Starlight?
Till 2 p.m.
Till when?
2 o'clock.
Okay.
Now you don't want you want anything for free, do you?
I'm sorry. A little while ago, a woman called up and said Ralph Nader should be run out of time.
Tarred and feathered, she said.
Do you agree with her?
Yes.
You think Ralph Nader? You think he caused all this?
He won He got 98,000 votes in Florida, sir. If he wouldn't have been on there, Gore would have won hands down. We'd be all over now. We could be talking about Alien again.
Yeah, but she said he should be run out of town. He should be taken out so that we wouldn't see him again.
Taken out to the wood. She said taken out to the woodshed. That's right.
Isn't that what the Germans did to the Jews? I mean, that's not a cool.
She didn't say to kill him. She just said take him out to the woodshed. You're getting a little carried away now.
They got them out of town. They got them so they can, I don't know. I think if Ralph Nader wants to run, if anybody wants to run, and
yeah, well, the way she was, the way she was talking, he better start running. I'll tell you that. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Just get up there and give us some money, okay, pal, and quit getting all, serious on us here. Oh, she said he should be. Don't worry about her. She couldn't step on a fly, that old bitch.
Sports Radio 560 WQAM Miami, Fort Lauderdale, a Beasley Broadcast Group station. WQAM.com for the world. It's 2 hours.
This is the story of a girl who dropped her pants and mooned the whole world. And while her butt was fine, it looked like mine, 'cause it was kind of hairy, and that's gross. How many hairs on her rear? Certainly more than a 9, it appears, and I'm gonna be so sincere. It looked like a sheep that hadn't been sheared. She had an ass like Chewbacca, furry and brown on the rounds of her cheek. Needed a razor, it's clear, or at least shampoo so the hair didn't reek. But why did I have to see it that day when the hair on her ass was mooning my way? The hair on the butt of a girl, well, it ain't okay. This is the story of a girl who dropped her pants and mooned the whole world. And while her butt was fine, it looked like mine, 'cause it was kind of hairy, and that's gross. And that's gross.
101 at 550 WQM. So the judge in Palm Beach, they can set their own rules and count whatever they want, but they're not counting until after 2 o'clock, and they see what goes on. Broward is counting right now. They decided to go ahead with the recount. And what's her name there? Catherine, the Secretary of Bush. She's just waiting another 58 minutes, and then she's going to say, "No, all of you, we won." I guarantee she probably comes and makes a statement like that. We just declare we won. Forget the absentee ballots. It's over. Goodbye, and that's it. Have a nice day. We stole it fair and square. Here's Janet says, we just spoke with somebody in Connecticut regarding the election who believes the people in Florida should have a chance to recount the votes, however long it takes to get the real winner. That's what the people around the rest of the country are saying. If it takes till hell freezes over. In fact, with these two candidates, that's how long we hope it takes. Now, here's a great fax from Bill. He said, when I went to my Southwest County Dade polling place, I got the shaft like you wouldn't believe. When I got in front of the line to receive my ballot, I was spoken to as usual in Espanol. Having lived in Miami my entire life, I understand most of what is said to me, but my responses are in English, especially concerning something so important. After the gentleman finally found my very Anglo name on the rolls, I was given a pencil to sign my name on the dotted line. I found this strange, but took my ballot and proceeded to the next line to wait to vote. After whacking my chads and finding the correct Gore hole, I walked over to the lady standing next to the ballot box. I handed her my card, and she says, "Iki Piki Wiki." While I'm pointing at my ballot, I said, "Excuse me?" "Iki Piki Wiki Poo," and she points to a space where there should apparently be some official's initials. She pointed at the first table where I got my blank ballot. I realized that the clerk at the table was supposed to initial the ballot when it was given to me. I walked back over to the clerk at the first table, showed him my ballot, drawing his attention to the blank line where his initials should be. This is where it gets weird. He stood up, took my ballot, and said, "Let me check." Turned around to a table behind and put my ballot down next to a few others. When he turned back around a couple of seconds later, I wasn't sure that it was my ballot he was initialing and giving back to me. When I asked to see the ballot book again to check my numbers, I was told that once I voted, I couldn't go back to the area. I had to go back over to Picky Wiki bitch and give her my initial ballot. She tore off the stub, gave it back to me, and told me to drop it in the box. I could swear I dropped some bogus Bush Punch ballot into that box, and my ballot was probably used as rolling paper for a freaking Cuban cigar. That's what Bill says. How do you like that?
Oh!
God. Okay, where are we going here? Is a mobile in Boca. Hello?
Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hi. I got a solution to this election problem. And,
okay.
It's got some historic precedent. Remember Hamilton and Burr?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. And the best part about it is the loser won't be allowed to bitch about the loss.
Okay, thanks. 5670560, pound 560 on the 18. I even was suggesting that before the show today. That's how old and stale that is. But anyway. Here's Pompano. Hello.
Yeah, my grandma wants to know if the QAM vans can come over to Pumpernicks if they're going to give anything away free.
Oi! Yeah, if they were still there, if your grandmother hadn't helped put them out of business.
There you go. You know, there's one
ask Grandma if you can borrow some of that silverware she stole.
All right, Graham. Empty the post. Now, there's one part of this election that's kind of fraudulent that nobody's brought up, and that is when you go to the polling booth, they had the temperature turn way, way down, which just from personal experience could, make your chad shrink.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody's taking that into consideration.
Yeah, that's another one. Shrunken chads and swollen chads. Yeah.
Where's the Secretary of State stand on that?
She's got her nose in it.
And in closing, there's no chads in Palm Beach.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
960 out at the van.
960 at the van. We got another almost an hour to go. Not bad. We'll do way over 1,000 out there. The QAM van is at the Starlight Diner, corner of Cypress Creek Road and Andrews. And they got all the best of Neil stuff. And if you're a cheapskate, if you're looking for free stuff, stay the hell away because they'll kick the living crap out of you. The nephew will beat you senseless. He don't care. He's leaving town anyway. He won't be here to face the charges. So don't mess with the guys at the QAM van, okay? That's for you. God. Here's a lady in North Lauderdale. Hello.
Yes. A fast question. I guess his name is Judge Lombaga. And
Judge
he is also...
Lombaga?
Well, I think it's... I try to get attached. But anyway, he's also an appointed... He's a Republican judge.
Yeah.
They say he's quite fair. Good. I hope he is. But how come she's naturally a Republican? Why can't they force her to recuse herself?
Beats me.
I mean, if they wanted
to... I mean, if the Jebster did it, and if Bobby Butterworth did it, who's the Attorney General and chairman of the Gore for President in the state of Florida campaign, if both of them did it, wasn't she forced to do it?
I mean, this is really not unfair.
And then their response is, the Republicans, they say, oh, well, she's an elected official. Well, so was the governor last time I checked, so was the Attorney General last time I checked, but they recused themselves because it was obvious that they were a part of the campaign, and so is she.
Hypothetically,
don't you understand? She's the henchman. Jeb stepped aside to make it look good, and now she's the Bush in waiting. She's the next one in succession.
Well, hypothetically, if she says that she reneges and goes along with what she wants to do, what is the next step?
Then they have to go to the Supreme Court and appeal that. But the good news is, keep in mind that all 7 justices on the Florida Supreme Court were appointed by Democratic governors.
Yeah, that's the only ace in the hole. Well, thank you, but everybody's Republican.
Except for the Supreme Court.
Yeah, and high prices, and naturally, this is what's happening. Well, I thank you. I just wanted to let it be known.
Well, maybe we can put her on that same rail with Ralph Nader and write them both out of town.
Were you aware what happened with the people that were being sent away, the black people?
Sure, absolutely.
I watched 4 hours of C-SPAN, and I was glued. I couldn't stop. It was on Sunday, and it was unbelievable. All these people that came forward, intelligent students. I mean, it was terrible. We sent our country back 75 years listening to these people.
And if Bush gets in, we'll set it back another 75.
Yes, it was horrible, and we should be ashamed of ourselves at this week.
I'm so embarrassed I'm ready to leave the country. Have a great day, sweetheart. 5-6. Now look at that. Did you see that judge, that Republican judge in Palm Beach? He just reached over and yanked on her eyelashes, Carol Roberts. I think he yanked a couple off. He said, well, it looks like a Chad. It was 2 of her eyelashes. That's okay. She's still got 1,600 left. She said 1 for each number of the address of the White House. 567-0560, pound 560. What am I talking about? Like I said, I'm so upset I'm ready to leave the country.
Get the best of Neil Rogers 2000. A benefit for Planned Parenthood. Just go to a Specs music store near you or WQAM.com on the net. The best of Neil 2000 with great hits like...
So, Paula Jones, you got a new nose. That don't impress me much.
And who could forget the Neil Rogers keychain with great sound effects like...
It puts the lotion in the basket.
That's the American fucking way.
Oh, those timeless classics. The best of Neil Rogers 2000 from Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Florida sucks.
Every time I have to look at Joe, I can't help noticing how much he snorts. All that cocaine rotted his brain. Inside his nose, nothing else remains. So the nasal passages. That's why George always thought he had no nasal passages. He bought a steam to inhale the surface line. He was born into money, but he's so goddamn dumb. Without it, he would be a homeless bum. Life at the party, his college days left him with 2 cells full of brains and no nasal passages. That's the reason he's for never he has no nasal passages. I bought my ticket and I'm holding my passport tight.
114 at 560 QM. I just came up with a great idea for a constitutional amendment that prohibits families from having more than one president per family, please. Yeah, I mean, we already had one father and son duo, John Adams and John Quincy Adams, and I think that was enough. Don't you think that was enough? Yeah. 5670560, pound 5. And how about Alexander Hamilton? Oh, he didn't make it? Damn it. That's the only reason John Quincy Adams got in. You do understand that. But I'm not going to pursue that any further. Where are we going? Let's go to Hollywood. Hello.
Uncle Neil.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Okay.
Question. Well, first I want to say I have family up in Palm Beach. They all voted for Al Gore.
I think.
Well, they didn't seem to have any problem. I have my mother, who's elderly. I have my mother-in-law, who's a sick lady, and I have my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, who are young. And nobody had a problem with it. They've used the ballots before.
Mm-hmm.
The other question I have, your opinion on this hand count nonsense, which I think is nonsense the way it's being done. I have no problem with hand count, but wouldn't it be wiser to hand count the entire state instead of just districts?
That's why I said at the beginning of the show, of course, because otherwise it's prejudicial, you bet. But the problem being that, number one, the Bush people were too stupid to file for hand counts within the 72 hours of the election, and number two, because of the fact that they keep vehemently opposing hand counts and even going to court now to stop them, how could they come out now and say, oh, well, now after the hand counts in Palm Beach and Broward, Gore's ahead, so we want to hand count the whole state.
No, well,
But I agree with you. The only rational way is if we're going to look for a serious answer here and really want to find out who won, you got to hand count the whole state.
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, see, here's where the problem that I see is coming in. If they're going to hand count specific counties or specific districts of counties,
yeah,
which obviously at this point, as far as I can see, are weighted towards Gore.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but don't forget about the 100 votes that came in from Polk County that nobody asked to recount, and they did a hand job in Polk County.
No,
don't forget about Seminole County, where another 99 votes came up because they recounted a portion of their vote.
You're correct on that, but what I'm saying is, no matter which candidate it was weighted, let's say it was.
Yeah, well, we already agree. You're just going around in a circle. The answer is yes. Let's recount the whole state. You're trying to convince me of something I'm already convinced of. Yes. 567-0560. Pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Got it?
Uh-huh.
Good. Here's Hallandale. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, I am.
This is a statement from Jesse Jackson as to why we're down here.
Oi! Yeah.
In this tight election, we are forced into a pre-dilection that must cover our dedication. The ascension of
Okay, listen, say hi to Sonny Rosenberg for us. And watch out for the outhouse gang. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Oh, boy. Man. Here's a lady mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say, where's the fire? I just think that...
Where are the ants in the pants? Is that what you mean?
Exactly. These puppies are just trying to push it through, say, I won, that they've already seen their lead dwindle.
And you know something? I've been saying this for days. If they really believed they won this state, they would be very willing. They'd be magnanimous. They'd say, okay, let's go right ahead. Let's count all the places you want because we're very confident they know they stole the damn thing. They know that there was more fraud and corruption in this election than the history of the whole country put together, and that's why they want to. We got it, and we're cutting it off right now. And
that's right.
It's like looking through a pane of glass. It's so clear.
Yep, I know.
It's a real pain.
It really sucks because I know that, Florida is Gore country. No,
Florida's cracker country. Florida is crap. But anyway, we know that he won.
We know that he won.
Okay, have a great day, sweetheart. Whatever you said. It's Gore country. Is it Gore country?
No.
It's, it is what it is.
It's country.
Yeah. Here's a mobile in Cape Coral. It's another country. It's a foreign country. A mobile in Cape Coral. Hello.
Hey, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Hey, one thing nobody's mentioning is this Harris lady. Maybe she's getting set up to be a patsy by the Bush boys. Maybe get her. She's going to take the fall when the pieces come falling down on top of everyone.
Yeah, from what I'm hearing, she's already got a few pieces falling down on her. I don't want to mention the governor. So what was that about Jebby yesterday? About Jebby Jr. banging some chick in the seat of a car in broad daylight outside a shopping mall in Tallahassee?
Uh-huh.
Wow. Now, isn't this the family that keeps telling us about they're going to restore decency and morality? And here's the governor of the state whose wife was smuggling stuff in here because she allegedly didn't want to know her husband know all the money she was spending. Columba the smuggler. And now we got George P., who's running around like a lunatic in his ex-girlfriend's the parking lot of the apartment complex or the neighborhood, whatever it is, carrying on like a maniac, running around half naked.
Climbed in the window, remember?
Well, he liked Cecil. He says if it's good enough for the Spartans, it's good enough for the Mexicans. And then we got Jebby, who's banging a 16-year-old kid, banging his girlfriend in broad daylight in the backseat of a car outside of a parking lot in Tallahassee. This is the family with that white-knuckle drunk that's going to restore decency back to America. You phony, lying bastards, you. Why don't you admit it's all for the goddamn money? That's all you care about. That doesn't bother me, at least if you're honest about it, like that damn grave robber Mitch Hirsch. At least be honest about it. You have no scruples. You have no principles. All you care about is money, 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 money. That's all you care about. Which is your privilege. You're entitled, just like that damn hockey fan that keeps bugging me at the games, which I thought I was rid of him. And every time he comes in front of me and talks to me, he spits in my face. God, I thought I was rid of him, and all of a sudden the other day he shows up again. Man. An overgrown groupie. Hey, Ron, have a good time in Philly. Don't come back, okay? Do not come back. Stay away. quit spitting. The only person I ever met in my life, after you have a 10-minute conversation with him, which is the least you could ever have, you have to towel yourself down. I mean, that would have been okay after the, delivery guy was here from Tony's, but this was ridiculous. Here's a mobile in Boca. Hello.
Hey, Neil, how you doing?
Okay.
All kidding aside, this thing with Bill Clinton, if it was the will of the people and there was enough petitions to go around, why couldn't we change the laws and keep him in for a third term?
Change the laws. Okay, wave your magic wand. Funk your magic twanger, Froggy. Can we change the laws?
No.
I'll tell you what. Give him the number in sales for, what's his name? For Bozo Head. Todd Dreck. Yeah, and the two of them can discuss about can Bubba run for a third term. Oh. 56705, but I'm with you, pal. I'm with you 100%. Let's get Bubba in there again. Didn't I already predict before the election, long before it took place? I said, man, all you people on both sides, you're going to really miss Bubba.
This is a bunch of hooey.
Exactly. I could have said it better myself. Here's Cutler Ridge. Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Neil?
All right.
Listen, couple of things, and the first and most important, Republicans were not stupid about asking a recount. They just didn't want it, period. They thought they had it, and why ask for a recount when they had it won?
Yeah.
And the most important thing
but
is...
they did like to recount in Seminole and Polk County, though. They liked
they
that a
won't
lot.
say anything about that. They like that. And most importantly...
And they also like to recount in New Mexico that's being done by hand that had them within 4 votes at one point, or 4 ahead, or 17 ahead.
As soon as everything's starting to turn around, obviously they're going to bring out anything they can to hold on to it.
Right.
I've had the opportunity to see elections in third world countries and in South America, and over there they have, and the point that I want to make out is the exit poll. And only 2 times in my life, in the course of my life, have I seen the exit poll miss, and it was once in 1996 in South America, in the presidential election, where about 2.5 hours later, after the polls were closed, the results were given to one candidate because it was so close they waited, and about 5.5 hours later, the results showed it was another one.
Mm-hmm.
It was the other one that won.
Right.
The president only lasted 8 months when it finally was shown that it was fraud, because the exit poll is probably the most accurate poll there is. I'm surprised that about 6 to 7 independent news stations in our country, all of them give it to Gore, and then all of a sudden have to take it back. It's just pretty much pretty plain and simple. That's what I'm trying to say. It's pretty plain and simple that something very, very fishy is just going on there.
Like I said, they stole it fair and square.
That's exactly right.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Hang in there. I'll see you in one of those third world countries. 12:20. What are we on? Oh, 12:20. We can make $2,000 over there at the Starlight Diner. We still got 36 minutes to go. This is one of our best. Like I said, nice going, great selection there, nephew, or Joe Mama. Well, since Joe was at the hockey game doing that thing with his leather jacket the other night, he's there's no holding him back now. He had the 3-hour show Sunday morning, and he did the thing at the hockey game the other night. I wouldn't be surprised pretty soon he starts to get like Defoe, but I hope not.
Doing an appearance on Friday, can't do the show that day.
How do you like that?
Paid appearance?
Paid appearance. Like I said, he's going to be walking around with 80 different checks from 80 different outfits in his wallet. Each one of them very small, but nevertheless they add up. That's what Defoe says. Like I said, I sure hope you don't wind up like Defoe, kicking losing tickets over at the track. Anyway, they're at the Starlight Diner, corner of Cypress Creek Road and Andrews, and they got the best of Neil stuff up there, including those nifty keychains and the CDs and cassettes and T-shirts. $1,220. We can get to $2,000 by 2 o'clock. I can smell it. Or maybe that was the that gas I was cutting in here a minute ago. Well, I can't help it. It was that real good pizza. You think I'm joking? Just walk in here and you'll find out.
No.
It's not a laughing martyr. In fact, a martyr and matter. Light that incense. There's nothing worse than being a laughing martyr. Here's the lady in the Gables. Hello.
Yes, hello.
Yes, ma'am.
I just have a comment on the election.
Yes.
First of all, there's been a count and there's been a recount,
and
there is no fraud, and I don't like to hear accusations of fraud. Because those ballots were perfectly
Accusations? I'll see you in New Jersey, okay? I'll see you in New Jersey, okay? Get back on the banana boat, honey. We don't give a crap what you think. We don't care what some banana boat, grape-picking bitch like you has to say. Go back to a country where you can say it and they might do something about it. Get out of here. 567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless. Hey, it's been counted and recounted, and I don't like the accusation. Let me give you a little lesson, okay, honey? Speak of the Inglés. That's lesson number 1. Speak of the Inglés and cut the crap. And just kiss the ground that somebody let your ass in here, okay? And don't be giving us no lecture about the fixed election, bitch. 26 after 1 at 560 WQS.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560. QAM.
Please, enough talking.
Wow. Hey, how you doing, honey? This is Bill Clinton, the President of the United States, and this is my State of the Women address. I've known a few girls who thought they were pretty hot, but Billy's here to tell you that, girl, you're not. They used to wear makeup and rip away pants, but when they looked at me, they were under my trance. Whoa, you think you're special? Whoa, you think you're something else? So, Paula Jones, you got a new nose. That don't impress me much.
No.
Well, you got the brain, but have you got the touch? Now, don't get me wrong, well, I think you're alright. But that will keep me warm in the middle of the night. That don't impress me much. Let's move along, shall we? I think you'll remember this one. She had a tape recorder that she kept on her phone, and after she ate steak, she would bury the bone. She got herself some lipo and a tummy tuck, but she's still as ugly as a hockey puck. Whoa, she's like she's something special. Whoa, she's like she's something else. So, Linda Tripp got some surgery. That don't impress me much. Well, you got the brains, but have you got the touch? Now, don't get me wrong, yeah, I think you're alright. But that won't keep me warm in the middle of the night. That don't impress me much. Oh, I forgot me, buddy. Oh, yeah, how about this next one? A big, chunky girl with a purple beret. That damn Gap dress nearly put me away. Little secret meetings in the corridor. I could have taught Wilt Chamberlain how to score. Whoa, she thinks she's special. Whoa, she thinks she's something else. So, Monica, you lost 40 pounds. That don't impress me much. Well, you got the brains, but have you got the touch? Now, don't get me wrong, well, I think you're alright. But that won't keep me warm in the middle of the night. That don't impress me much. I'll save the best for last. Well, I tried to cut the brakes on her car. No offense, but I think I'd rather sleep with Jenna Starr. When she gives birth, I think her offspring should hatch big old legs and an ass to match. Rectum. She thinks she's special. She thinks she's something else. So, Hillary, you're going to be a senator from New York. That don't impress me much. Well, you got the brains, but have you got the touch? Now, don't get me wrong, well, I think you're alright. But that won't keep me warm in the middle of the night. That don't impress me much. Thank you. That is my State of the Women address. Oh, you!
133 at 560 WQM. So both parties now, Democrats and Republicans, have gone to the Florida State Supreme Court, and they said, straighten this all out. Handle all of these things. And that's where they are right now. So all you can say is, hang on tight. Our poll today, if Al Gore loses the presidential election, the main reason will be because of Ralph Nader, 144. How do you like that, huh? 144 freaking votes for that little pimplehead Ralph Nader. That fossil. Election fraud, 116. A weak campaign, 51. Choosing Jew Lieberman as running mate, 43. And a mediocre performance in the debates, only 29. So it looks like even with all the election hanky-panky surrounding us and all the turmoil we're in the midst of, they still point the wicked, crooked finger right at Ralph Nader, you obnoxious, egotistical maniac, you. We got, how much? $1,340. We can get close to $2,000 out there by 2 o'clock at the Starlight Diner. Joe and Dunn, if you were out there.
Oh.
Yes?
There are 2, at least, Starlight Diners people are going to the wrong one?
Yeah.
Not that they're anywhere near each other.
Well, haven't I been saying Cypress Creek Road and Andrews Avenue? Haven't I been saying that all along?
Not the one in the Oakwood Plaza, not that one, the one up at Cypress Creek.
Cypress Creek Road and Andrews Avenue. I've been saying that over and over again. It's not for free. Just go there and throw a bunch of money at them, okay? And quit acting stupid. Some of these people are so stupid you think they wouldn't be able to vote right. Here's a mobile in Pompano Beach. Hello.
Is this me?
Sounds like you.
Okay, it ain't a mobile, that's okay.
Here's a stationary in Pompano Beach.
Hey, that guy you called up and said that Catherine Harris is some kind of a patsy who's got it all wrong. You can bet that she didn't do anything without getting promised some kind of a Bush cabinet position when he gets elected.
Yeah, she wants an ambassadorship. I mean, they don't even keep it a secret. She's made it very clear she wants to be the ambassador to somewhere.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to feel for her. She's only worth $7 million. $7 million.
Yeah, it's ridiculous the way this whole thing has become politicized and legalized and turned inside out.
And prostitutized.
Yeah, there's not going to be any happy end to it.
No.
All right, that's all I had to say.
Good luck to us. Like I said, it's enough to make me want to get on a plane and leave the goddamn country. 5670560, pound 560 on the AT&T and Verizon wireless line. Over on the West Coast, where they've been pretty quiet about this, of course, because they're still trying to figure out what election day is and when it's coming. 877-785-6345. Here's a mobile in Miami. Hello.
Neil.
Yes, sir.
I've been trying to get a hold of you for days. It's been impossible. I voted for Bush, but I can only think of one fair way to settle this.
Yeah.
You have to recount the ballots, and you have to recount them in every county.
Right, absolutely correct.
And that's the end of the story. If Bush wins, fine. If Gore wins, fine.
Both sides are trying to get the edge. They're trying to get the leg up, if I can say that.
Both sides. Exactly. That's the thing. It's both sides.
Right.
You can't just count the Democratic counties. You
Right.
can't just count the Republican counties.
And you can't just cut it off just because you're 300 votes ahead when it's convenient for you.
I agree.
Right.
So you can't re-vote because then people will change their votes.
And let's face it, they could do, if they would stop all the arguing and the Supreme Court has any brains, that's probably what they ought to tell them to do. They could start now. Within 10 days, they could have the whole state recounted, and this time they could recount it with, with people in there supervising from both parties, and then say you get one shot at it. We're not going to, argue about this or that. You have one shot. You have one last chance to certify your number, and that's it.
Well, at least it's nice to see that a Gore supporter and a Bush supporter can agree.
Yeah, because that's what the people want. The people want an honest answer. These other guys, they're just looking to get whatever they want.
Yeah, both sides have these high-powered whore attorneys.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
That's right.
And let's get rid of them all, and let's recount every county and say that's it.
In fact, I'll tell you what.
We're done.
You and I will count them. How's that?
That sounds good.
Okay.
Take care.
See ya. Yeah, that guy and I, we're going to sit down. It may take us a while. One for you, one for me.
Are you going to count pregnant Chads, or do those
We're
get thrown
counting
out?
Chad Everett and Jeremy Clyde. Or is it Chad Stewart? I don't know who the hell. Maybe it's Dan Stewart.
Oh, we're fine.
Yeah, and stay the hell out of here, Dan, unless you're bringing Josh Morrow in. Yeah, Dan Stewart, whose motto is, let's out your friends. Oh, man, I just get the willies thinking about that creep. Did he ever pay you back that $50, George?
Only $50.
No. That's why you can be sure you'll never see him in here. Okay, you're going to crap all over yourself out there, even if you haven't done one in years. I mean, this will do it for you in a second. Although I will tell you the Palm Beach County Canvassing Board,
which would necessitate a change,
is holding a news conference right now to read the letter that they sent to the Secretary of Bush.
Results of Palm Beach County.
So they have sent the letter. They had a 2 o'clock deadline. They've sent it, and I'm sure Broward's doing the same. But you don't want to hear that because it's just another formality, and we still have to wait to hear what that bitch. I mean, she says it too, the Secretary of Bush. Here's the story. I'm telling you, this is going to make you want to barf. Dallas, Texas. A Republican candidate for state office in Governor George W. Bush's home state of Texas has won a hand recount of punch card ballots similar to those at the center of the presidential recount battle in Florida, officials said today. While Republicans criticize Democrats for seeking manual recounts in Florida, the losing Republican candidate for the Texas State House 5th District asked for a recount in the 3 counties that make up his district. Of the 3 East Texas counties, the largest, Smith County, uses punch card ballots, the county clerk's office said. Van Zandt and Upshur counties use paper ballots that voters mark with a pen. Punch card ballots are in dispute in Florida with the national race, blah, 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 blah. Texas House District 5, Bill Hollowell asked the Secretary of State's office for a recount after losing last week's election to Democratic incumbent Bob Glaze by a margin of 21,496 to 19,416, a margin of 2,080 votes. The Texas Secretary of State approved the request on Monday, and each county must complete the recount by next Monday, said Jane Dees, a spokeswoman for the Secretary of State. How do you like that? And this is by a margin of 2,080 votes in one congressional district. We're not talking about in a state where there are more than 6 million votes and a margin of only 300. So when it's convenient for them, and this is the law that Governor W. signed into law himself in 1997, providing for hand recounts in the state of Texas, when it's expedient for them, they love recounts by hand. They love doing it by hand. Whether it's in Polk County or Seminole County or in Texas or in New Mexico or any place else that it's expedient for them. But if it's here in Florida where it don't look too good for them because they got that slim lead that they're clinging to, that they're hanging on to desperately, then all of a sudden, oh, we don't want to do that. It's unconstitutional. It's un-American. We won. Here's Plantation. Hello.
Hey, Neil, can we take a break for the election for a second?
About?
Talk about a real serious issue. Why does McDonald's serve tossed salads in a cup?
567-0560, pound 560 on the AT&T. Because you're giving me a cup Vatic, that's why, asshole. Here's a lady in Hollywood. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I have a question. If this were to go and the state of Florida were to re-vote, what do you think is going to happen to the people with the outcome of that?
What is going to happen to the people with the outcome of that? What does that mean?
Well, in other words, if there was a re-vote, don't you think that it's going to go for Gore? Don't you think at that point then...
I don't think there is going to be a re-vote. I don't think there's going to be any re-vote. I think if anything happens statewide, it's going to be a hand recount of all 67 counties.
And then another question is, why don't we get a president from another country who he's not Republican or Democratic to come in here and sit in the judges' chambers and let him make the decision instead of having all these Republican judges that are making the decision.
Okay, Tony Blair's on the way. Okay, Tony Blair's on the way, and I also think some Queen from Amsterdam's coming in. Or the Queen, Beatrix. 567-0560, pound 560, and these people voted. Just keep that in mind. These people voted a week ago, Tuesday. Where are we going? Here's Miami. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Neil. I'm a Bush supporter, and you know why Bush is going to win? Because of Alien. Those 300 votes are the 300 people that were at Alien's house the night they took the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And also, bananas are good for potassium.
Okay.
1785, that's the van.
And what did this guy say? Oh. Maybe you can get a hold of Dan Stewart. Now, what was it? They got how much?
1785.
1785. We can make 2,000. You can almost smell it. Man, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Here's Hank, who said that he's going to go up there and give that Secretary of Bush what for. You do know about her, don't you? Her and the Jeb? Yeah.
I told you she was a no good, Nick.
Bitch. Yeah.
Broward has sent in its
letter.
Its letter of justification.
Right. And Palm Beach, too. They just had those bozos on.
And I guess the reason they're saying is that because of the extremely large turnout, they just need more time to tabulate. Plus, they lost a day from the Veterans holiday on Friday. And they say they'll have everything counted by 5 p.m. on Monday.
Which is reasonable. What's the rush?
Yeah, we still have a president.
Right. Oh, the Palm Beach County Canvassing Board's got much better eyebrows than Broward.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carol Roberts. Yeah, I'm telling you, he reached over, he thought he was knocking a Chad off, he knocked one of her sets of eyebrows right off. It was great. The judge. Is this incredible?
A state senator told me about 2 weeks ago about the Secretary of State.
The mic is swinging. I mean, I realize it's a crappy mic, but it's the best we can do in this place.
Anyway, a state senator told me about this bozo of a Secretary of State we had. I mean, the stories on her.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah, incredible.
Then you see, because these people are bringing morality and decency back. Did you hear the story yesterday about Jeb's son, Jebby, the younger son? Gets caught banging some chick in the broad daylight in the back of the car. Huh?
The little brown one.
Jebby. Yeah, banging some chick in the back of the car at a shopping center in Tallahassee. Yeah. These are the people bringing morality. We got the white knuckle drunk who's the candidate.
Well, don't forget.
We got the governor whose wife is smuggling stuff in Columba. And now we got the kid who's banging his girlfriend, both underage, by the way, in a car in the broad daylight in the shopping center.
Was it consensual?
Does it make a difference?
Sure.
Oh. And then we got, and you can relate to this, because then we got George P., who's pulling a Cecil, who's breaking into his girlfriend's apartment through the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just wanted to get a look. He just wanted to take a peek.
Please.
I can't stand it. It's mind-boggling.
It's good for the late-night comics. That's about it.
Like I said, bad for America, good for talk shows.
Yes. You're having a good time with it.
Sure, why the hell not?
Yeah.
It's not as good as Alien, but it's right there, the next best thing.
You know, you were talking earlier about the L.A. Times. I brought back a column from the L.A. Times I'm going to read excerpts of on the air. But the L.A. Times has got such a handle on this because what it talks about is that, you know, the bottom line is that George Bush could be as much of a mistake or an accident as Jimmy Carter was in post-Nixon.
Right.
And that they cite, you know, I heard your 5 reasons, and the one reason that they cited as to why a lot of states in the South, particularly Tennessee, didn't vote for Al Gore was people forget. He was vice president in an administration where the president was impeached.
Yeah. I still think it's liberal.
That counts for... No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I'll tell you why.
In Tennessee, in Louisiana, in Kentucky, and Arkansas?
I'll tell you why. He won. Gore won. He won the popular vote. You know, Lieberman couldn't have been that much of a detriment.
No, but I'm talking about the electoral vote.
But you know something? It was Nader. Absolutely.
That's what they say.
I mean, you have a 48% vote count for the winner.
Yeah.
Which is the lowest ever. Yeah, and
he took 98,000 votes in this state.
Yeah.
Of which let's say 60, 70,000 would have gone to
vote. He goes forward with no mandate whatsoever.
Right.
None. So you're going to have 4 wasted years.
I don't know if you were on the hall or on transit. Did you hear the story I just had about the Texas Republican?
No.
I'm going to give this to you because you'll want to read this too. A Republican candidate for state office in Texas today has won a hand recount of punch card ballots similar to those at the center of the presidential recount battle in Florida. He was trailing, now this is just in one congressional district, Texas State House 5th District. He was trailing by 2,080 votes and asked for the hand recount, which is Texas law. That's the law that Bush signed 3 years ago into law in the state of Texas, and that's it, and they did the recount. 2,080 votes. Here, W is ahead by 300 votes out of 6 million plus, and they're objecting, oh, it's unfair, and you know, why don't they just recount the whole state by hand?
Well, remember, he picked up 1,460 votes already.
Right.
Just on the first recount.
That's why they want to stop now. They're ahead. You know, it's like saying, at the end of the third quarter, let's stop the game now. We're ahead because we know if we're sliding bad and the fourth quarter comes, we're going to get our brains knocked out. Crap. But here, take this.
Jesse Jackson had it right.
Yeah, stay out of the bush.
Stay out of the bush.
Okay, you'll be on, keep your eye glued because the Secretary of Bush...
I'm on duty. I'm on Sentinel.
The Secretary of Bush will be on there with her ultimatum. 152 at 560 WQM.
The Neil Rogers Show. Sports Radio 560 QAM.
He wants me to sing God Bless America and pasties in a G-string up here. I'll do it.
I woke up this morning with a feeling of despair. I looked for my pussy, but my pussy wasn't there. Well, my cat fell in the well. Oh, puss, kitty, my cat fell in the well. I got a ladder and I climbed up to my bed. I saw in a jiffy that my puss was soaking wet. Well, my cat fell in the well. Oh, puss, kitty, my cat fell in the well. The doggone hole by the pump, where she pushed, did she jump? There never was a kitty half that pretty as pussy that fell in the well. There never was a pussy that could quite compare with her. Pretty as a picture with her long and crooked fur. Well, my cat fell in the well. Oh, pussy, kitty, my cat fell in the well. If you have a pussy that you wouldn't tread herself, never let her wander or she might fall in a well. Well, my cat fell in the well. Oh, puss, kitty, my cat fell in the well.
157 at 560 WQM. Almost at that 2 o'clock deadline. Can you smell the text?